All right, we're gonna open the work session for Monday, August 25th, 2025 for the EDA project update. Sorry, making sure I get our engineer in here. So I gave a brief overview at the last count, or maybe a month ago now, on kind of the delays and how we got here, and then McKed provided this report on where we currently are at and things moving forward. I can read it if council would like. Or you could just ask questions, whatever preference you all have. Could you read it? Yeah. Michelle, the project administrator from McKed, wrote this report. This report provides an update on the intergovernmental agreement between the city of Cascade Locks and Mid-Columbia Economic Development District for grant management support related to the Economic Development Administration Electrical Hardening Project, EDA project number 07-79-07513. Project funding includes a $2.4 million EDA grant. Progress continues, though slowly, as the newly assigned EDA project representative works with the city to ensure compliance with the specific ward conditions issued by the EDA. The first amendment to the intergovernmental agreement was executed on July 29th, 2025, formalizing McKed's ongoing grant management role. I think that date's wrong, and I'm looking at that. Michelle, I think that's supposed to be 23.
But this was the amendment.
The first agreement. This is the EDA approved an amendment. Oh, never mind, sorry. I'm confusing, excusing things. Amendments to the intergovernmental agreement was executed on July 29th, 2025, formalizing the McKed's ongoing grant management role. In addition, the EDA approved amendment number 2 on August 4th, 2025, which extended the project timeline by 1 year and establishes a revised project end date of January 19th, 2027. The scope of work has been adjusted following the Oregon Department of Transportation's reversal on the placement of new electrical lines within its right of way. As a result, the city must now secure an easement across privately owned industrial property. The city's engineering firm, Curran McLeod, has completed a site visit and will prepare the required survey and legal description for the easement agreement. Bid documents are also moving forward. Vantage Point, the project engineering firm, is preparing 2 sets. The transformer bid package covers procurement of a transformer to upgrade the electrical substation. This package has been submitted to the EDA for approval prior to advertising. The construction bid package covering the full scope of electrical hardening project is nearing completion and expected to be finalized by the end of August. Once completed, it will be submitted to the EDA for further review. Anticipated scheduled events for the bid packages: competitive sealed bid announcements sometime in 2025. Proposal bid due date and bid opening 30 days following the advertisement. City review and selection, first council meeting after bid opening. Notice of intent to award, posted for a minimum of 7 days. Contract execution and notice to proceed.
Can you let the Morgans waiting in the waiting room on Zoom?
No,
Says not join.
It says waiting for host to start the meeting. I wonder if he's using a. He must be using
oh, he
that.
might be in the wrong one.
It says it might show me as someone from Colorado, not on my laptop.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, yeah.
I didn't bring them on. Enemies of my eyesight.
That's yet to be determined.
No, he's not there.
I can't see him anyway, so.
On the bottom, it says not join. Is that anything? It says there's one and hasn't.
Let me go send the invite real quick.
Technology.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Don't understand what it is we're discussing on this. I mean, there's not really much in our control.
Yes, we have.
I mean, this grant was to get data centers. And data centers are no longer wanted by the food commission. And so now it's like. The commission promised us millions of dollars.
Exactly.
We have to fulfill this grant. We're having troubles to fulfill this grant. What are we gonna do?
Okay,
We've had a lot of delays and changes in plans, he'll explain, they'll explain. it. That's what they're gonna do, is explain it to us, so we're up to date.
Okay, all right, sorry about that. Second page in your packet is the map. At the bottom of it is the Cascade Lock substation that we have purchased from BPA. It's got the original transformer in it that is built in 1952, is 6 megawatts. We'll be replacing and upgrading it with a new 20 megawatt transformer. We'll also be updating the lines crossing the highway. Right now, there are 2 separate sets of lines. One of them goes directly from BPA's lines to our Pyramid substation. The other one goes from the Cascade Lock substation across into our system. Oh. Somebody's on there to add.
Waiting room, Edward, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once it crosses the highway, it then goes underground through the Dennis Snyder property to the south side of Forest Lane and continues both left and right. We're replacing and upgrading some overhead poles and underground to the east to a vault, which will then it'll be up to any developers to extend it from there into the. So that's the current plan. The issue, I guess, more specifically, is we had explored the idea of going around Dennis Snyder's property to the east and then north through ODOT's right of way and through Hood River's right of way. We were given permission from both. ODOT then came back 2-3 months later, Michelle, and said, nope, we told you that air. We can't have you put any structures in our right of way. So we then had to pivot. We looked at the other option of going through our current easement on the west side of Dennis Snyder's property. And with the cost of upgrading the poles, we either have to put in new poles to make them taller, to have 2 distribution lines on there, or underground along the current easement, what it just was not feasible in cost. So undergrounding through this line between buildings was the easiest and cheapest way moving forward.
can you explain the cost difference?
I don't have the number off the top of my head right now. I'd have to look it up. I know our engineer Ed, who's on the call, might have it, but I don't know it at the moment.
Yeah, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I could definitely go get that. I know we got an estimate and reached out to one of our construction contract partners that we work with a lot, and it was, yeah, definitely the more economical choice. But if those numbers are needed, I could definitely go find those.
I mean, can you just like give me a rough difference in cost?
Ed, do you remember?
It's
Yeah,
been a couple months. I can look through my email while you guys are talking, and I'll see if I can find something. I apologize for not knowing that.
Thank you, Ed.
No problem.
Any questions, more?
So what do you need from us? What is?
I'm just giving an update. You
Yeah.
guys, yeah, this is where we're at. Ask away. I mean,
Cause this is taking a while.
And things have changed.
And things have changed. And we were gonna put a pole on ODOT's property now. I just have a hard. I understand going underground is better, but I can't imagine it being cheaper. But I don't know.
yeah, it wasn't a huge amount, but it was the cheapest route.
Did you have a question, Eric?
I guess. I kind of want to know what's the goal of this project now? Is it just so that we don't have to repay the millions of dollars that this grant cost us? Like, I mean, that's what I'm trying to get at, is that at what point in time is this? Like, we can't do this, like, it's costing us, I mean, I can't even imagine how much this has cost the city and McEd's time to work with all of these delays and adjustments and changes. And I mean, I'm all about the two substations and the ability to transfer back and forth, and that part seems exciting to me, but like, what's the goal of this project now?
It's the same, resiliency for our system and power out to the port for economic development. That's still the main goal. I mean, yes, there are some sunk costs to it. I mean, we've already bought the substation for $250,000. We've paid the engineers $150,000-$200,000 in engineering work. My kid's gotten a chunk of money, so there is some sunk costs for sure. But it's still the same end goal, to have a system to back each other up and get power to the port so they can do their job.
Tiffany?
But the port has changed. We're no longer going after industrial, now we're talking a campground, I mean, is that really an effective use of a 20 megawatt facility, infrastructure, I mean, is that?
Unless they switch gears again and do go for a high use for development. No, they'll probably never use that entire transformer, but the power demand in the city is growing. And they'll be able to back each other up. If there's no point having a second transformer that isn't able to handle the load of the city. I mean, I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we're at 40 megawatts to cover both substations, but that's also not the point. We also have it in our IGA with the port. If they bring in a business that's over 10 megawatts, they are required to build their own substation. So they do not take all of our available power. That was updated, I think, at the end of 24, somewhere in there. Courtney.
Can you remind me, we recently purchased a broken transformer, right?
No.
No, we ended up not.
Well, we bought the substation, the whole substation from BPA, and the transformer in it is very old and needed repaired. And so we're just replacing it. And it wasn't big enough to handle the city's load anyways.
Okay, cause I had remembered conversations about. We were talking about putting money in it to fix it, is that right? Cause there was a leak.
Yes, it has some kind of gas leak. It's an old type that uses gas to help keep it cool, and it had a leak. And so we bought it and then we took it offline. So we're not actually paying for the gas right now.
And then, so we're just replacing these 3 poles, we're keeping the existing power lines on them.
Correct, yes.
And then is there an existing underground through Snyder's property here?
There's not, no. No, it's a little hard to tell, but there is an overhead. There's a substation, and then power lines that run west and then cut north across his property. If you look at the orange line at the top of the page there on the far left, you can kind of see 3 very faint lines. That's the power lines running over his property, and they pretty much go a straight line down to the south side of his property.
Is this gonna be a straight shot through the property, or are we adding more bolts in there?
It'll be a slight bend, but it'll be a straight shot. There won't be any additional vaults.
Right.
Yep, there'll be no vaults in his property.
So it's not gonna affect any additional easements needed or anything like
No.
that?
Correct.
Tiffany, are we having any problems with being able to do that on his property? Have we had that discussion yet?
Oh, yes, we've shot you. We had several conversations. He's wanting a little bit of horse trading, but we're working it out, so yeah. But he's fine with the idea. The biggest thing for us, their issue is between those 2 buildings, there's personal power lines, water, sewer, gas, I think. So we have to locate all those. They have a rough idea of where they're at, so we're gonna do a vac truck and kind of vacuum, see what we can find. That'll be the most difficult part.
What kind of gas would be there?
Then propane, maybe? I wanna say, I mean, there may not be a gas.
Because we don't have North.
Yeah, I mean, he might have natural gas that they ship in, but yeah, it's all private. It's not any of our lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have question? Go ahead.
So what timeline, do we have a timeline for any of this or
The bid,
cost and expectation of the rest of this?
that's part of the issue, is these awards the grant was applied in 2019, the funds awarded in 2021, costs have obviously gone up since 2021. Now that we have this plan refinalized, we're gonna, Ed, we need to talk to you, we're gonna get an updated estimated cost for this work and then resubmit for additional funds from ED. We're all assuming that the bids are gonna come in more than what's budgeted, so. At least we're preparing for it. Hopefully they're coming within this fund, the just over 3 million, but we're not holding our breath, so.
Timeline?
The bid for the transformer is in EDA hands, so they need to review it and then it can go out as soon as they're ready. The bid package for the construction work should be wrapped up by the end of this month and then over to EDA. Hopefully out for bid this fall. But it should be out this fall with the construction starting in January, or not January, this spring.
Eric,
I feel horrible. Of all people, I should know this, but EDA is an Oregon entity.
No,
not
it's federal.
It
It's
is
the
federal.
Federal Economic Development Administration.
And it is so. I guess I'm just gonna ask it, I don't care. Like, so the expectations of the administration, how do they affect this grant
The
process?
current administration,
Yes,
they do not.
okay,
So that was another part of the delay. Is at the beginning of this administration, they literally pulled all of their lawyers off of their projects and reviewed every grant. To make sure it wasn't promoting whatever you wanna call it, DEI, wokeness, whatever it is. But they spent a solid 2-3 months re-reviewing all of their projects, including ours, and ours was not affected.
any other questions?
Madam Mayor, I have a few questions.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about you, Bernard. Sorry.
No worries. Good evening, everybody.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
so I had a few questions that I sent to the city administrator last night. And I'd like to just go through those if I could. But before I get into that, so what would be helpful for me, for Mr. Jordan, would be what was the original project budget? And then where we are now. I assume we have our original project budget when we submitted for this grant. And then, again, where are we now given some of the things that have happened and the delays and what have you? So I would love to see that, a side-by-side comparison. And then, I guess my general comment is I'm still very supportive of this project moving forward. I understand the port has shifted its focus to some, downtown economic development and that type of economic, agenda. But the fact remains that we've got 200 plus acres of an incredible, valuable industrial land in our city that will have future tenants. I can guarantee you that will come forward at some time. And having the infrastructure, which is what cities do, water, sewer, electric, etc., to support that type of some future industry is what we should be focused on. And the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, this is a grant, not a loan. Is that right, Mr.?
It's actually a mix. The majority, 2.4, is a grant from 2.4 million is a grant from the EDA. 497,000, just under 500,000 loan from the Oregon Special Public Works Fund. $110,000 donation, if you want to call it, from the port, and then about 70 grand in city funds.
Okay.
To meet the 20% match.
Okay. So again, we're putting a small amount of our ratepayers' funds forward, and we're getting over $2 million or almost $2 million from a federal agency to improve our infrastructure. That is a bargain that I do not want to turn away from. So I want us to continue. I hope we'll continue moving this project forward. So, but like I said, I'm always interested in on time, on budget projects. I know we're not on time, which is another question I want to ask. So, is this funding going to somehow expire if we don't get this project done?
If we do not meet this new extended deadline. Of
Which is what?
2020 January 19th of 2027.
Okay. And with our engineer on board, is there any reason you think we can't meet that, Mr. Hockaday?
I do not.
Okay, great.
That seems quite reasonable.
Okay, excellent. So let me just hop on my email if I give me a second here.
Bernard,
Yes.
So we have like 8 minutes left of this work session. I don't want to cut you short on your questions, but if you can refrain from any of them that you've already asked that council could have already reviewed. Only because
Okay.
we're on time crunch.
Got it. Okay. Let me just look through these if I could real quick here.
Yes.
Okay, so regarding the undergrounding work, I know that I've been following this on different projects, around the country, and the technology continues to get better in boring. Underground boring is getting more efficient. It's becoming more, effective. And, I asked if we can underground Snyder's properties, why couldn't we underground the interstate and then, save the challenge of putting overhead lines over an interstate? Real quick, Jordan, what is the assessment there?
I'm not sure if I responded as I thought I did, is that by that point, everything for the overcrossing had been approved and engineered. And the only reason we're undergrounding at the Snyders is because ODOT gave us wrong information. We'd have to go back, re-engineer, re-permit everything with ODOT, which would slow us down even more.
I'm kind of curious to hear Mr. Harkaday's response. What is your thought on underground versus especially covering an interstate? From a cost perspective, would the work be cheaper if we went under the interstate?
No, it would actually be significantly more expensive. I mean, per foot underground tends to be, I don't know, 2 to 3 times as expensive. And you're right that it is getting more efficient and the technology is getting a lot better. But part of that calculus too is there's going to be 2 circuits crossing overhead over the interstate, and to accommodate that, the ampacity that's going to be on those lines, you would need 2 conductors per phase. So when you have, 6 conductors per phase, or 3 conductors per phase times 2 circuits times 2 per phase, you're looking at 12 conduits that would need to go under the interstate, and that becomes immensely, expensive, especially when you're boring it. So in this situation, not the best solution, but from a reliability and, kind of long-term integrity standpoint, undergrounding is great. But for this project, I mean, I think the cost would be pretty astronomical compared to what it is for
Okay,
currently.
thank you. That's all. Appreciate that. And then, yeah, look, to Councilmember Pruitt's, notes, I'm very intent on seeing a timeline. You know me, I don't like to be determined in a timeline. And this project should have a timeline. It should always have a timeline. And you adjust off a timeline. So please, I'd like to see staff put that together as soon as possible so we can monitor this and not get further behind. Let's get this thing done. Okay, that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Eric.
I guess I don't understand, Bernard. We're at the whim of the EDA. Right? So you want a timeline, but we can't do a timeline because EDA is slow footing this. Right? I mean, what are you, we have the deadline of January 17th. I mean.
January 19th, 2027.
Thank you.
Well, I'm happy to respond to that. Do you, Mayor, is that
Got 2 minutes.
Yeah, so
Yay.
look, any project manager will tell you, you work within the constraints of the project, whether it's outside agencies, internal requirements, etc., and you still build a timeline. So so EDA is a unique and possibly problematic partner in this project. Well, then you buffer that in, but you always have a timeline so you can measure progress. Without a timeline, you have no idea how well you're meeting the obligations of this project. You're just floating around waiting for the next thing to happen. That is not good project management, and that's why I feel like we need a concrete timeline given the constraints of the project. That's always a consideration when you're building a timeline.
Thank you, Bernard. Courtney.
I mean, to add on to that, you take your known quantities, you know how long it's gonna take to put up these poles and the lines, you know how long it's gonna take to put some underground in. You take those known quantities and with a good buffer for EDA and you should be able to build something off of that.
Thank you. Agreed.
So I have a question. I don't know if it's to Naked or to you, Jordan. When we go for the more money from the EDA, what's the chances of us getting it, considering our audits and stuff? Because I know that plays into these grants. You have to be current. Do you think that's gonna affect us in getting more
Not
money?
that I'm aware of, but in the chances of getting additional funding,
What do you think?
It's a possibility. There's no guarantees, but
Right.
the new EDA representative hasn't completely shot the idea down.
Okay,
It's a remote possibility.
okay. Are our chances higher of getting turned down because of our audit situation or no, or does that?
I would hedge not at this time because EDA is invested as we are too, to get this
Okay.
project done.
Okay,
So I would,
all right. And Tiffany.
I just want, since we don't have time, but I would like to understand the difference in cost between the undergrounding and the poles at the beginning.
Yeah.
And we obviously don't have on, because I'm hearing that it's cost more to underground, but here it costs less to underground, so that doesn't, I'm hearing two different things here. I mean, I understand one involves a highway and all of that, I understand that, but why is it cheaper here and not there, and what's the difference in cost, the first question we're gonna ask.
All right. So this will end our work session. Thank you, Edward. And is it Michelle?
Michelle.
Thank you.
thanks, Ed, Michelle.
Thanks. Y'all have a good one.
Okay. Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Please go forward to any questions through Jordan to me.
Okay, good. Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
You're ready. We're good. All right, let's call order for our regular meeting. Do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Councilmember Bump.
Here.
Councilmember Happy.
Here.
Councilmember Keller.
Here.
Councilmember Seeger.
Here.
Councilmember Pruitt.
Here.
Councilmember Conlon. Here. Mayor Wood.
Here. All right, additions or amendments to the agenda. All right, adoption of the consent agenda.
Make a motion to adopt the consent agenda, which includes the approval of the action minutes of July 28th, 2025, and ratification of the bills in the amount of $142,891.43.
Second.
Any discussion?
Pardon?
We're not going to see.
Oh,
I didn't ask.
I'm sorry.
Good catch.
You got
I was gonna say,
Yeah, okay, yeah, and the bills, okay, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong.
I was gonna say, didn't you say July date, or am I losing my brain?
Yes, I did, I was like, what am I, and then at the same time, I'm reading the August minutes, and I'm like, this is the same amount, that's weird, okay, sorry, I will do that again. Approval of the action minutes of August 11th, 2025, ratification of the bills in the amount of $365,762.15 and approval of a special event license for landmass flights.
Second.
Any discussion?
Sorry.
No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. All right, the adoption of the consent agenda has passed by the majority.
If I may say thank you, Kathy, for the bills being in order again, appreciate that.
All right, appearance of interested citizens to share on a variety of perspectives on issues facing our community. You have anything? Kathy, no?
No, I did.
Oh,
Did you fill out?
take one. Jason got here, he didn't fill it out, but she wants to speak. Is that okay?
Is that okay? Can you grab a form?
It's our first time.
That's okay. There's a form over there. Do you know what topic on the agenda you wanted to speak on?
It's not a.
Little free library and.
Okay.
innovation.
We'll have you fill out this and then we'll have you get right there real quick. You can do it. Sorry.
Thank you, Kathy.
Usually when you come in, if you want to speak, you fill out that paper, but
Okay.
all is good. We all learn.
He can post fill it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He can make this statement and then.
yeah, go ahead and come on up and then you can finish filling that out.
Yeah.
Let us know your name.
My name is Jake Ross Bright. I'm part of this community for a little over a year now. You're probably more familiar with my husband, James Bright. What I wanted to say is that I am the steward for the Little Free Libraries here in Cascade Locks. We currently have 2 of them. I'm going to be opening our 3rd in front of Whiskey Flats. So I always welcome and invite, participation, recommendations and things like that. And I also wanted to introduce myself. I am an applicant for your code enforcement liaison position. And I know that you're very familiar with my partner and my other,
Okay.
we're part of the Gorgeous Cascade Locks group, so I'm also part of it. I'm just kind of a silent part. So I just wanted to say hi to everyone and make sure you knew about the new library opening. And like I said, we always welcome suggestions and participation.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right. And then on to special presentations. We have Mid-Columbia Community Action Council, Leslie.
And I have
Hi.
Sarah Kellums. with me
Okay,
today.
come on up, please.
I know that you have a full agenda, so we were going to keep this short. I do have my presentation on a thumb drive, but I think we already sent that out to you.
Yeah, this is.
Great,
we got
so, cool, we won't worry about that then. Well, thank you for having us. I'm Leslie Naramore, and I am the new Executive Director for Mid-Columbia Community Action Council. I've been with the agency as interim since February, but then I was appointed to the permanent position as of August 1st. And prior to that, I was the Executive Director of Washington Gorge Action Program for almost 7 years, so some of you may know me through that work as well.
And I'm Sarah Kellums. I'm Development and Partnerships Director at MPAC. So I work with both our grants and individual and community support, as well as with our partnership projects with other organizations. I'm also a Hood River County resident. I live on the west side of Hood River. And I worked with MPAC for the past 3 years. Prior to that, I ran the Hood River Shelter Services Program, which is now under the MPAC umbrella. So we're really excited I came here to council with our previous ED 2.5 years ago, and I know there's many new faces here, so we're excited to come back and just share about our programs and services so we can better serve Cascade Locks community members.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are stop number 3. We serve all of Hood River, Wasco, and Sherman counties, and right now we are making an effort to present to every county and every city council or community within our service area, just to make sure that we're staying on top of what's going on and that we continue to meet the needs. So we're gonna jump right into it. I know that you all had a chance to review the slides, and then today I did answer some questions by email. And then, once Sarah and I are through, we're happy to answer any more questions that might pop up. So I wanted to jump to the slide, about creating a continuum. It's, nearer the front. It's right after the mission. And this is a graphic that kind of illustrates how clients come to us and then how they work through our services. And I wanted to point out, it starts with emergency shelter, but not all of our clients come to us through emergency shelter, but many of them do. So if that's the route that they enter into our services, either at the seasonal shelter in Hood River or through the Gloria Center when we operationalize the shelter there, the goal when someone comes into shelter with us is always going to be that they then find a permanent home. We don't want someone to come in and seek our services and then return to houselessness. So that's what this continuum is illustrating. So many of the people who come in through our shelters will then move on to the annex, which is a transitional shelter. We have almost 50 rooms there where clients can spend up to 2 years while they stabilize and find more permanent housing. And then from there, they move into that permanent housing placement. And that can work several different ways. We have rapid rehousing, we have permanent supportive housing, and then we do work with private landlords to get them stabilized in a new home. And that green dot over on the side there is how we work to keep people out of this continuum. So we do a lot of eviction prevention with clients so that they don't end up needing emergency shelter, because if someone ends up losing their home, they get evicted, it's much more expensive to get them rehoused than it is to keep them in that where they were in the first place.
And I would just like to add, so a lot of people have heard about the annex. It's located in the Dalles. We did choose that location as a central service for our 3-county area. And about 30% of the people that we serve at the annex are placed from Hood River County. So really using that as a regional resource to serve our whole service area. The next page is our community impact highlights from last year. And the first one I wanted to share was the top number. So we served 769 community members through our utility assistance programs. We have multiple utility programs that help families who are struggling to meet their monthly bills, stay in their homes, and also like not have to choose between groceries or keeping the lights on. We typically have more need for that program than we have available funding. So we typically prioritize elderly and disabled households for our utility assistance. And we have 2 seasons with that. So we have our cooling assistance that's in the summer, and then our heating assistance that's in the winter. And we also have utility assistance that's more on an emergency as needed basis, that's more limited. And then, so you can see that a higher number of people are served through our utilities program, and then just under that, 731 last year served through our housing programs. That included 280 people who would have been in that green circle on the previous page, who we helped stay in their housing. And then 171 people we helped transition from houselessness into stable housing. I am so excited to see this happening in our community. We're really seeing the power of wraparound services and of our community partnerships. So especially for people who haven't been without housing for a long time, typically if we're able to provide those supportive services, we can help them successfully stabilize in housing. And that feels really good to see that happening. We have about 100 landlord partners right now, and we are continually working to expand that. We have a new program called, well, new for our area, called RentWell, and it's a renter education program that also comes with additional benefits for landlords who agree to work with community members who've gone through that program. So we did 1 class of RentWell this spring. That was our first class, and we have 2 more classes that will be carrying out this fall and winter. If you or any of your contacts in the community are landlords and are interested in learning more about what that partnership can look like, we would love to connect with more landlords. I think all of us know how hard it is to find housing, no matter who you are. And we provide a lot of supports for landlords to consider taking a risk with someone. I brought a few resources today, and one of them, that I'll just leave these for anyone who's interested. This is one of our video stories that we've done, and this one focuses on a landlord partnership and what that looks like and how it impacted a young man's life. So I'll pass that around after our conversation.
We're gonna jump a couple slides ahead, and I just briefly wanted to touch base on the Hood River Shelter and our office in Hood River, because I figured that's probably what would be most relevant to you all and that you're most familiar with. So we do have an office in Hood River. It's on State Street. It's in the basement of the Columbia Insurance Building. And we have 2 staff members who work out of there. Any of our services that are available at the Gloria Center or our other locations are also available at the Hood River office as well. And we provide case management there, all of our utilities programs. And then I did want to mention, we do come down a couple times a year and meet with people for our utilities program here in Cascade Locks. Do you want to talk about the shelter?
Sure. So the Hood River Shelter became a program of MCAT through a merger in the summer of 2023. And it continues to provide winter warming shelter services. So we operate the Hood River Shelter on Oak Street every winter from about mid-November through mid-March. This year, we received some additional state funding and we're able to extend that into April. We have 24 beds at the Hood River Shelter. And it's open 24 hours a day. If you followed that program over time, it used to be a nighttime only program that was run exclusively by volunteers, and it still really reflects that history. We have really strong volunteer involvement in our Hood River Shelter program, and we now also have trained staff who can provide that case management and connections to community resources.
And then, as I mentioned earlier, you know, we do have people who come into the shelter, and our goal there is to get them stabilized and then get them into housing so that when that seasonal shelter ends, that they aren't going back out onto the streets. Are there any questions about anything?
I have one question. I've also often wondered, because I do see people sometimes in our town that look like they need help. And I've often wondered if there was like a free bus ticket or something you could offer them so they could get to a town that has the resources for them. It would be so nice to be able to have them available. So when we see that in our community, I can just go, oh, I have this bus ticket. Maybe I can go offer it, maybe with a bottle of water or something. Do we have anything like that?
Yeah. So what we do have, we don't have like unlimited transportation vouchers, but we do partner with CAT and the Link. So if someone is either going somewhere within the CAT and Link service area or can make a connection, we can help facilitate a transit pass. We have like a special online request form we do, so it's not like an in the moment thing.
Oh, okay.
But if you needed to have a supply of a few of those on hand, we have some at our Hood River office, and we could if you wanted to do a follow-up and have some on hand here at the city, we could definitely arrange that.
That would be nice.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, I'd be happy to work with you and my team member Miriam. We could work with you around that.
Yeah. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions so far? Eric?
That's all they have hand up.
Sorry, Bernard, your turn.
No worries. Thank you. And thanks for the presentation. So just 2 questions, just because I'm curious. I know homeless is a vexing problem with, throughout the country. And it always often comes up in conversation when I mention folks, I'm a council member and working on these public policy issues. And I never really have a good answer, but let's see if I get an answer from you. So if I randomly approached 10 people who were homeless in Hood River County and Portland, you name the area, can you break it out? What number of that 10 would be addicted to a substance issue or having a mental health issue? What number would be like, they just lost their job, they had a medical bill, they literally just kind of down on their luck. They have nothing that's preventing them from, being a productive, capable person in our society that literally should hit a spell of bad luck. You see what I'm trying to ask? Can you break that out of every 10 folks? What is the demographic or challenge each one's facing? That's my first question.
I don't think that I could give you an exact number because there are so many different situations. I can say that a lot of people who are experiencing houselessness are experiencing other factors that have led to that, particularly around mental health. But I can't give you an exact number. I can say that we are seeing a rise in houselessness right now, and a lot of that is directly correlated to the rise in rent. So a lot of the people who are becoming newly houseless, it's not because they have mental health issues, it's not because they're addicted to any kind of substance, it's directly related to their rent and the fact that they just simply can't afford it.
Right. And it's my understanding that those types of folks, the efficiency and the path to get them back into housing is a lot easier than someone who's dealing with a mental health issue or a substance abuse issue. It's not easy. Those guys have a lot more, they've got these issues that we've got to try to get our arms around before they can be back on their feet and and managing their lives. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
would just to that can be a really big challenge in our area because a lot of those services around substance misuse and around mental health are lacking. We have Center for Living who is doing the best that they can with very limited funding and also having huge issues with not being able to hire workforce. One of the big problems in our area that we see a lot in healthcare is that people are interested in working here and then they interview, they're like, yep, I want to get the job. And then they look for a house and they can't find anywhere to live. So that is another issue that kind of ties into that.
Yeah,
One
no
more,
doubt. And as you may know, I mean, housing is one of Cascade Lock's top issues, and we're very focused on, improving supply. Okay, my second question, and this was, again, just somebody who's trying to, navigate this world we're living in. And, inevitably, whether I visit Portland, Seattle, even Hood River, I will bump into a tent or someone who's camping in a public space. And, I always want to say, who can I call to connect them to get them out of that tent and that public space? So just for our situation here in Hood River County, if we run into a public encampment on a space that's clearly not owned by that camper, what is the step we should take as a citizen or as a council member, you name it?
so I'll take that question. This is something we've worked with the Hood River Sheriff's Department around pretty extensively, and I'm wondering, I'm not sure if this is already happening here in Cascade Locks or more in the broader county, but I know that the Hood River Sheriff's Office has a process for when people are camping in an area that they can't stay long-term. They give them a notification and so that there's some advance notice so that people can prepare. And then they provide an info sheet that has some of our resources and contact information. And I just recently worked with our contact at the sheriff's office to update that. And so that's something that if you wanted us, I don't know if the sheriff would be providing that here, or if that would be more your local city law enforcement or just city staff, but that's something we could work with you on. There is also the legality around where can people go, and so giving them an option of where they can go. We as an agency don't have the ability to force people to move on, but we can share information about our resources, and we usually start by creating a connection and providing basic needs supplies to help meet someone's immediate need, listen to their story, build a connection, and then start sharing more about resources. So that's usually our starting point.
Okay, so you probably heard we're looking for a code enforcement officer here in Cascade Locks, and hopefully we'll hire somebody soon enough. So would that be a task that we could give that instead of bothering a sheriff, that we pay those guys a lot of money, Is that reasonable to ask our code enforcement officer if they bump in or a citizen finds one to approach them with that information sheet that you guys just kind of mentioned to address that situation? What do you think about that?
I think that's ultimately up to you, but we would be happy to provide those resources. And I can say we also have a staff member who's focused specifically on outreach. So if you know of where people are popping up, tell us and we'll go do outreach. Like, we're happy to
Excellent.
do that as well.
Good.
Thank you. That would love to hear that. That's great news. Okay. That's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard. Pete.
I was gonna say, we see kind of different houselessness issues, I think, in this town, and maybe I've seen in other communities. We see a lot of folks that are either in cars or with RVs, and particularly on Wyeth Road is one area, and the frontage road along the highway, where people seem to congregate, and I think getting those resources to people, if you have someone that's available to outreach, that'd be hopefully well received.
Sure, yeah, we're happy to do that.
Who would be a good contact person to work with? Would that be Jordan?
That'd be me,
Okay.
for now at least, yeah.
Is there any other places in town? I mean, I know they're
We-
down on the bike path behind.
Yeah, and down the trail, there's a lot of, if you take the starting wheel, you'll see it, we have several tents and things that it's accumulating, so.
I think one of my concerns in town is, obviously, we only want to be empathetic, but at the same time, I get concerned when I see people that are smoking cigarettes and they're standing in a 3-foot drive rush.
Oh, yeah.
The big fire that they're having out in Matters right now, that was started by a fire in a camp, so, yeah, there's, real consequences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, so any of that information, because we really don't have resources, would be greatly received.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll leave several of my cards as well. And anyone, please feel free to reach out.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Mayor, can I add one thing?
If it's quick.
Yes, I just would like to request the city administrator have their number, that outreach number on our website. So any citizen could go, hey, what do I do if I see a homeless camp? You have two options, the sheriff's office or maybe their code enforcement, but definitely MCCAC.
Courtney.
I don't know if you're supposed to be part of a slideshow, but there are several blank pages with titles.
That was my fault. Those were notes for ourselves for things that will be added along the way as we get more information. And then I turned it into a PDF. I'm sorry. Sorry.
For the
It's deep paper.
Thank you for the information.
Then I did want to also share, we have a film that's coming up. It would be a little bit of a drive for you all, but on Thursday, November 6th at the Granada in the Dalles, we are co-hosting with GOBE, Greater Oregon Behavioral Health, a community-free screening of No Place to Grow Old, which is about the crisis of elders who are experiencing homelessness. And so I want to share this flyer. And then these are an example. This wouldn't be the resource that we work with you on to distribute for outreach, but more as like a general just information card in English and Spanish. And I was curious, could I pass these 3 things around and anyone who wants to have one tonight could take one?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Jordan, a question.
Jordan.
Just, camping is that do we have an ordinance on that, non-camping?
Don't think we have a very good one that really addresses it. It's on the to-do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because it really hasn't become a problem here. It hasn't really bubbled to the surface.
Yeah. Well,
It's on the to-do list.
I hear Bernard talking about having ordinance enforcement, but it kind of has to be, we have to have something.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff is really just outside of our city limits, like Wyatt or out on the trail. So a lot of it's just outside of our limits, and there's really not much we can do about it.
Right.
But
Mr.
just
Mayor,
having
can I get one of
a
those cards
resource-
putting up my, sorry.
But just having a resource like being able to hand them something and maybe a bus ticket and say, you can go this way to get, cause sometimes it's really hot out, or sometimes you'll see them in the winter and it's fixing to snow and you just wanna give them a way to get to resources.
In the winter, we have partnered to get people from Cascade Blocks to our shelter in Hood River with the sheriff's department too as well.
Oh,
So that's also potentially a solution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, for coming.
Thank you for
Very
having
nice.
us. Having us.
We'll be in
Mr.
touch.
Bennett, can you grab a card for me, please, and put in my box?
Yeah, they left
Thank
a
you.
whole stack of stuff for us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard.
I'm not sure that they wanna leave all.
They don't wanna leave
here.
all.
They would just want us to
If
take
you
what we
would
want.
like to keep them and you think they would go to use, we are happy to leave them all. Otherwise, if you just want a few of them, we'll take some. So you decide.
If you're willing to leave them, I think
Yeah,
leave them
we
so
can
they're
do
out
that.
in front of the people. Yeah, yeah, please.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to come to Cascade Lodge.
Have a good evening.
You too. All right, public hearing.
No public hearings tonight.
All right, action items, adopt ordinance 463, amend zoning and comprehensive plan maps.
Alright, ordinance 463 approves the changing of 15 tax lots from a mix of commercial residential, or residential to downtown. This will put the majority of the tax lots fronting Wanapah Street, the same designation of downtown. The public hearing occurred at the May 12th council meeting. The ordinance comes in front of council now for a formal reading, approval, and adoption. A first reading was originally scheduled for the June 9th council meeting. ODOT asked for the item to be pulled from the agenda for further review and analysis on their end. We obliged and pulled the item. We have satisfied ODOT's concerns regarding possible trip increases that may occur if residential land is redeveloped into a business. Please see Exhibit A in the ordinance for more details. Attached for review are the updated ordinance, Exhibit A, Chapter 8 of the Charter, and map of the affected properties. A copy of the ordinance was provided to council and posted at City Hall 7 days prior to the reading, meeting the requirements to read the ordinance in title only as long as no council member objects. Does any council member object to reading in title only? No? Okay. I will read it in title only twice. That will also allow council to pass it in one reading as long as the vote is unanimous. Ordinance number 463, an ordinance amending the Cascade Locks comprehensive plan map and zoning map for the downtown district. Ordinance number 463, an ordinance amending the Cascade Locks comprehensive plan map and zoning map for the downtown district. Amanda Ferguson, with the University of Oregon IPRE team is here as well to answer any questions. She did a lot of the heavy lifting in updating this ordinance and the downtown, or the zoning and comprehensive maps.
Oh, we gotta do nothing.
Yeah.
I move to adopt ordinance 463, updating the zoning and comprehensive plan maps. Second.
All right, any discussion? Go ahead, Tiffany.
I have a question. We have these maps in here. I'm not exactly sure what they are because there's nothing on them, it's just pictures. Can you explain what they are?
So they are the affected tax lots being changed from either commercial or commercial residential or just plain residential. If you look at the spreadsheets, the tax lot map, the first column on the left, the last four numbers correlate with the four numbers on the top of the map, on top of each tax lot in the maps.
In the future, can there be explanation like that? So I know if I'm looking at.
Yeah.
You didn't see that tax lot?
No, come on. Yeah, besides that, they're pretty small.
Yeah, it's a little small.
I mean,
Bernard.
Thank you, Mayor. So if Mr. Bennett responded to this, I can't find it in this long string of emails. But I wanted to ask specifically, so we did our first hearing after the planning commission did their review. And did we make some changes? Did it have to go back to the planning commission? And
No.
did that happen? Or I'm not aware of the process there.
The planning commission reviewed it and approved it back on April 10th, I think was the day. It came to council on the May 12th for public hearing. That iteration of it had 18 tax lots, including 3 of them in and part of and around Marine Park. After discussion, those 3 were pulled and it was updated for just the 15 lots. It was set for the first reading on the 9th. That is when ODOT asked us to pull it. So that's the time.
Okay, but the planning commission didn't get a second review and conversation regarding it now being 15 lots and the ODOT analysis. Is that right?
They did not, there's no need for them to. At this point, the planning commission approved it moving to council and now it's in council's hands. I mean,
Okay.
unless council wants to kick it back down to planning, but there's no need to.
All right, fair enough. And then
And I will, Bernard, just to add a little bit more context, the planning commission actually had a long conversation about the port being part of this and actually was uncomfortable with the port being in it. Although they did decide to vote to move to let the planning to push it to the city council for their decision. So I think that the planning commission would be in favor with the port not being as part of this zone change.
okay, excellent. Thank you. And then we had that developer, I forgot the name of the company, who has visited us and shared some concerns regarding being rezoned to downtown and their development plans. I think they got linked up with with Amanda. Is it fair to say that they are comfortable with what's being proposed here, and we still could see them moving forward with some development on that property across from City Hall?
Yes, the issue that they're mostly concerned about is whether or not cottage clusters or detached apartments are allowed as part of the downtown zone. So that is actually something that the city council will be looking at in chapter as part of the Article 3 amendments, which is coming to you at your next public hearing or whenever it's scheduled for your public hearing. So that's not before us tonight, but that is something that will be coming to you. And presuming that is passed, then they'll be fine.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else have anything, Tiffany?
So we're not, I'm sorry, I wasn't fully listening to what Bernard was saying. We're not, the port is not included. in
No,
this,
correct.
Right.
They
Okay.
pulled that
Okay,
last time, pulled out last time.
but there are a few homes.
Yes.
Yes.
And have we,
Five.
and have we had discussion with these?
We notified them all of the meetings. They were invited to participate in the public hearings.
And
Like,
And
I
all of them
remember-
actually came to a public meeting that we invited all of the property owners to, and all of the homeowners and the church both all came to that meeting and had a discussion with us.
and can you, I mean, was there any pushback at all?
Mm-mm. No,
really.
and they were invited to come to council and speak if they did have any problems. They chose not to.
And can I ask, it's my understanding that these single family dwellings, if they were to have a fire and burn completely down to the ground, then they do not have the opportunity to rebuild a single family dwelling. They have to do heavy, high density housing or commercial or the combination. Is that correct?
It is correct that under the downtown zone, a single family residence would not be approved. But even under their current zoning, a single family residence is actually already a non-conforming use. So they are already non-conforming uses, which means if they were to burn down, even if you did not do this map change, they would still be under the restriction that within 6 months they'd have to get a permit or they couldn't rebuild. So it doesn't actually change their status. They are non-conforming uses now and will be under the new code, but it's not changing anything for them or the church.
But are they still under that even though they're not a part of the downtown or downtown area? That still is
Because
true?
they are zoned medium density residential, which doesn't allow single family either.
Okay, okay. Courtney, sorry. Courtney.
Girl. So you mentioned as it says, with the current zoning that they have 6 months to file an application and they would be able to keep their single family residential. Is that?
That's correct. That's a non-conforming statute, and that is not changing. Correct.
That's not changing. That was my question.
Bernard.
Yeah, and just so I understand kind of planning philosophy, this is considered an upzone, right? Their property technically has more value because you can do something greater in value as a result of this change in zoning. Is that right, Miss? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And that is what ODOT was somewhat worried about, but they were confident with the analysis that we showed that the overall project of this rezoning with all 15 lots shows actually a reduction in the potential traffic over long-term for at the worst case scenario under the current development versus the proposed development. So they're happy with the final product.
Thank you. Courtney.
Hearing some of the horror stories about people experiencing fires and having problems getting those, new permits within a certain timeline, is that an easy process for people? Will that be relatively intuitive? Is that something that, like, do we have all of that infrastructure in place for people to be able to go through that process relatively smoothly? Is it a 6-month process? I mean.
They don't have to complete the process. They only have to get an application in 6 months. So they should, if it's a single family home, they shouldn't have, I believe that would be doable for most people to get an application in within 6 months. The horror stories you hear are much more about wildfires, in which they have sometimes up to 6 months before they can even clear out the timber because the federal agencies or the state agencies aren't allowing them back onto their property for safety reasons. So sometimes they're delayed much longer than that, even getting back onto their property in order to revisit it and decide what to rebuild. And they're also waiting for insurance from FEMA and things like that. So the natural disasters can make that process much slower. Whereas I think in this case, it would probably be a house fire, and it would be easier for them to meet a 6 months timeline to get a new permit in. And hopefully that will not happen regardless.
And then is there another timeline after that initial application?
Building, well, there are timelines that are built within both the planning code as well as in the building code for applications. So say if you make an application for a building permit, you have 180 days to hear back from the city. The city has a certain amount of time to process that building permit. There are timelines that have to be followed, but honestly, it can take a couple of years sometimes, but that's not going to mean that they won't be able to do it. It's if they cannot. There is a process that they will have to go through potentially. I have not heard that Cascade Locks takes that long to issue permits. I expect that a permit could be issued much, much faster than that.
Wonderful, thank you.
Anybody else have questions? Eric, did you have a question?
No, I was just going to piggyback in the sense of natural disasters. There are often leniencies to allow you that permitting to extend out.
So we all good, ready to go? All right. So all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. No. All right, adoption of ordinance 463, the amended zoning and comprehensive plan maps has been approved, except for one nay. Right,
Because it was not unanimous, it will now need to come back for a second reading at the next council.
okay, so we'll bring it back to next council. Okay, and moving on, and I just want to mention to council, because we have such a long agenda. If I seem like I'm cutting you guys short, it's because I'm trying to keep us on task here and get done. So it's not trying to be rude or anything, I just want us to be able to get through everything. And moving on to adopt ordinance 465, the CDC Article 1 amendment.
Right, the city of Cascade Locks obtained a technical assistance grant from the Department of Land Conservation and Development to hire a consultant to assist the city in implementing key short-term goals of the Cascade Locks strategic plan, the development of a downtown plan and revision of related aspects of the Cascade Locks development code to be more business friendly. Cascade Locks contracted with the University of Oregon Institute of Policy, Research and Engagement to develop this plan, which was completed in February 2025. One of the major goals of the downtown revitalization plan was to develop draft language for updating or replacing Cascade Locks Community Development Code that results in friendlier processes and procedures for developers, businesses, residents, and city staff. One of the major goals of the IPRE city staff, and Downtown Revitalization Project Steering Committee have developed proposed amendments to the Cascade Locks Development Code to meet the goals and objectives of the downtown possession plan. This includes an amendment to the building height definition within Article 1 of the Development Code. This amendment is intended to replace a current illustration with an illustration that better explains the complexities of determining building height on sloped land. The Cascade Box Planning Commission met on May 19th, 2025 to hold a public hearing on proposed ordinance to amend Article 1 definitions as noted above. The Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the revision to Article 1 to City Council. Council held a public hearing on June 23rd, 2025 and left public comment open until July 7th. No additional comments were received. Attached for review are the ordinance in Chapter 8 of the Charter. A copy of the ordinance was provided to council and posted at City Hall 7 days prior to the reading. The meeting requirements to read the ordinance in title only. Does any council member object to reading in title only?
Nope, you're good.
Okay, I will also read it read the title twice, which will then meet criterion to pass it in one reading, assuming a unanimous vote. Ordinance number 465, an ordinance amending the Community Development Code, Article 1, definitions, building height. Ordinance number 465, an ordinance amending the Community Development Code, Article 1, definitions, building height. And once again, Amanda Ferguson from the IPRE staff is here to answer any questions.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 465. Amending the Community Development Code, Article 1, definitions of building height.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Bernard?
Thank you, Mayor. So I have to confess, this is still a little confusing to me, even though you have some wonderful visuals on there. And I wanted to see if our planner could take another shot at helping me understand what exactly is changing here, so I can just be a better, decision maker on this ordinance. Thank you. You're muted.
Sorry about that. The only thing we're changing is the graphic. This was actually done by my colleague, Ellie Stapleton, and with an intent to sort of try to make it better. It's still it's still not the best. And honestly, if somebody wanted to take another stab at it, they probably could. But the intent is just to show what we mean by the definition of building heights when we're talking about on a slope, and how you're supposed to read the 35-foot building heights when you're looking at a building that has a slope that is more than 10 or is under 10 feet or more than 10 feet. So you have two different graphics in front of you. The first one, the front of the property, the front of the building is less than 10 feet above the back of the building. So you don't have a full story's width of change, which means your 35 feet is actually read on the front. And so your 35 feet would be that high. Now, if you're looking at, and it's 35 feet regardless, it doesn't, so if your back your back facade might end up being 38 feet or 36 feet or 37 feet, because you're only looking at the height from the street level. The other illustration shows what happens if the slope is much more steep. So you end up having a daylight basement out the back, or maybe even 2 floors that are actually lower than the front street. Then you need to measure it from the back, because we don't want a building that ends up being 60 feet tall from one side and only 35 feet from the other. Instead, it's that 35 feet plus 10. So you're giving people an extra 10. So the maximum height from the low side ends up being 45 feet. So it's trying to factor in the fact that there's a lot of slope, particularly on Wanapa. Although this does apply anywhere in Cascade Locks, and it's really trying to help people figure out what to do when you have a change in grade that's over 20% on your slope.
Okay.
For the most part, nobody gets to use this, but yeah.
No, that totally worked. Thank you so much. That's clearer to me. I appreciate it.
And I do want to make it clear to everybody that this doesn't change the land use code's height limits for any buildings. We're not recommending a change in the number that we currently regulate. This is just trying to make people understand what it means when we say 35 feet.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Go ahead, Jordan.
Amanda, I guess just for triple clarification to make sure we're all looking at the same graph the same way. In that second illustration, Wanapa Street is essentially, or I guess any street downtown is on the right-hand side of that illustration. So the hill is sloping down away from the street.
Yes.
I think without that clarification, people could interpret that the street you're calculating based off could be on the left side. So
no, I mean, the intent was to show, what happens if you're sitting on one of the properties on Wanapa where the front is much higher than the back of the property, and how do you figure out how your height at the building is?
Any other discussion? All right. Let's vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, adopt ordinance 465, the CDC Article 1 amendment passed unanimously.
All right, so this will now go into effect in 30 days.
Thank you. All right, now we're moving on to adopt ordinance 466, the CDC Article 2 amendment.
All right, several at a time and my voice, I'm just gonna go ahead and skip down to paragraph 4 because the first 3 were the same as the last staff report. Specific amendments recommended by the steering committee and within Article 2 procedures will clarify what type of applications require a pre-application meeting and what the applicant will get out of a pre-application meeting, and delete the requirement of meeting with an architectural review committee prior to submission of a planning commission application. The Cascade Locks Planning Commission met on May 19th, 2025. To hold a public hearing on proposed ordinance to amend Article 2 procedures as noted above. The planning commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the revision to Article 2 to City Council. Council held a public hearing on June 23rd, 2025, and left public comment open until July 7th. No additional comments were received. Attached for review are the ordinance in Chapter 8 of the Charter. A copy of the ordinance we provided to Council and posted at City Hall 7 days prior to the reading. Meeting requirements to read the ordinance in title only. Does Council have any objection to reading it in title only?
No objections.
Okay, once again, I'll read it twice in title only, allowing us the ability to vote to adopt it in one reading tonight. Ordinance number 466, an ordinance amending the Community Development Code Article 2 procedures. Ordinance number 466, an ordinance amending the Community Development Code Article 2 procedures. This one's definitely got a lot more to it than the 2 previous items, and again, Amanda from IPRE is here to answer any questions.
I move to adopt ordinance 466, amending the Cascade Lodge Development Code Article 2 procedures. Second.
Happy or Pruitt? Which one do you want?
I heard, who else?
Happy and Pruitt?
Give it to Happy.
Give it to Happy. All right, any discussion on this? Bernard?
Yeah, just one question. So because we're deleting in some planning proposals, the requirement for this architectural review, I can't help but go, okay, well, how do we ensure that, developments meet, our architectural standards? Just as a side note, I'm in Colorado. I had a little college reunion down here, and there's some neat little towns out here. And we went to a Costco. It does not look like a normal Costco. It's got this cool, stone facade, and like their architectural standards drove them to do that. And I'll be honest with you, I think lots of communities who do that, it costs the developer a little more, but they like the product. So can we ensure that, our developments, make us proud of our town without this step?
I would say, Bernard, that yes, the procedures that we're processing don't eliminate the requirements that the applicants meet architectural design standards that are specified in chapters 3 and 4 of the development code. What they do is eliminate the architectural review committee. Instead, it puts the burden of reviewing whether or not the applicant is meeting the architectural design standards on staff and then on the planning commission. So directly, it's the intent of this modification is not to say that we do not want people to have to meet architectural design standards. It's to remove a bottleneck in our current process that is making it up to 6 months longer to get an application even approved before people can start even putting in a building permit. So it's really trying to make it faster for both the applicant and the city to get projects going.
Okay, I'm down for that. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, ready to vote on adopted ordinance 466. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. All right, adopt ordinance 466, the CDC Article 2 amendment passes unanimously.
Once again, it'll be 30 days before it goes into effect.
Is that 30 business days or 30 days?
Calendar days.
Okay. All right, moving on. The Oregon Department of Energy grant application approval.
All right. It is standard practice for most of the grant applications through the state of Oregon to have a letter from city council providing staff authorization to apply for the grant. This current grant is installation of solar panels, battery storage, and updates to the electrical system at the fire station. Attached for review is the approval letter, the project description, a proposed budget, and the feasibility study completed as part of the previous grant round. Council options are to approve the letter of authorization or not to approve it.
Move to approve the letter of authorization to apply for the Department of Energy grant for the fire station microgrid system.
I'll second.
All right. And discussion. Tiffany?
Okay. So, did we not get that question, my questions answered? So this is just, this is just a letter stating that we're behind the project, basically.
Yes, council is giving staff authorization to apply, yeah. Council approved.
And this will be no cost to the city?
Correct, it will be built into the grant application, yeah.
Okay,
Yes, yeah, assuming we get the grant, the cost will be part of the application.
other
Yeah.
than the $10,000 of staff time.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, are we gonna get something about, more information, because I don't feel like, if the mayor and I hadn't gone to that meeting at the fire station, I would feel like there's a lot of missing information here, such as the questions that I asked, like, the life expectancy of the panels and the batteries. And I like their math, I'm not understanding their math. So,
I did forward those questions to McKed and they did respond, I thought I sent them out to everybody.
I got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Um,
did too.
But yeah, the average lifespan is 25 years. The math assumes a 3.7% rate increase for electric cost every year. That's how they got up to the 400 number.
Did you have anything, Eric?
Oh, I'm just a huge advocate. I mean, this is a huge thing. As we try to work for the fire department to be a warming shelter and as an opportunity, maybe for it to be a community place. For it to have solar and electricity on demand when it's needed in emergencies is hugely imperative to the success of this town.
Yeah, because the solar comes with batteries too, so if we lose power, we can run the fire department off of the batteries is the go, and I don't remember how many hours they were thinking. It
It's
depends
in that
on
feasibility.
what
study.
we put in on the switch, right?
Correct, yeah, and it will go first to the battery, and if the battery drains, it'll then go to the generator, allowing the battery to recharge while the generator is running, which we then put more fuel in the generator. So worst case scenario, I wanna say it's a week it can run. But I have to remember.
32 hours.
What's that?
It says in here 32
Oh,
hours.
does it? Okay, I don't know why I was thinking a week then. I hadn't read it in a few days, so.
Sorry.
Yeah, Eric.
It's my understanding that excess will go back to the grid. Does the city just take on that electricity to distribute, or does the BPA provide some sort of?
City takes it on, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't really wait for BPA to take it back, so the city would take it.
So the city would take it
Yeah.
and thus less coming from BPA.
Correct. We'd essentially be buying power from the fire station instead of buying it from BPA. Yeah. So,
I mean, minimal, but it might be a house, it might be 2 houses worth.
correct, yeah.
So just on the topic of just how long this can run for, our generator we have is supplied with fuel through a propane tank that's on site. Is that right?
Yes.
Think so, yes.
And how long can that, are there, and I guess the other loads on that would be the heating system for the fire station?
Correct. So actually, the way it's wired now is the generator is just power. It's the HVAC system is not connected to. That's part of this grant also, where we connect the generator to the whole system. Lights, HVAC, everything.
Got it, so currently it only provides power for heat. Is that what you said?
Electrical,
Electrical?
yeah.
So your
It's not connected to the
doors.
HVAC system, which I'm not sure why, but it's not.
And do you have any idea how long the generator can operate?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember.
He was gonna try to run, and I forget what he said. Do you remember what John said? He was gonna try to run it and really find out how long it took to
Yeah.
run it out. Yeah.
And do they just come, I'm sorry for all these questions, I'm just like thinking worst case scenario that we, we're winter storm and we're low on propane and we don't have cloud cover and we're out of power for more than 32 hours. Should they, how often do they come and fill that tank? Is it on a monthly service?
We've been as needed basis.
So when it hits a little.
As needed.
Yeah,
I have a monitor on mine.
he might, I have talked to John about changing the refill schedule, but I don't think we've said it yet.
And we're not using the fire department as an emergency shelter for heat and cooling. If we have power out and we need emergency heat or cooling, we're gonna be going to the school. Is my
Correct.
understanding. Eric,
My thought is that, I'm apologize for misspoken, but phase 2 or phase 3 of that build out includes community. That's what I was referring to.
yeah,
Correct, and we did have them size the panels and the generator to make sure it would fit any phase 2 expansion, so no additional panels would be needed.
and Bernard,
Thank you, Mayor. So a couple things. I too am hugely supportive of this project. The fact that it's a grant, we don't have to pay for it, is a wonderful treat. Just for comparison, the panel project that I have on my house was about $22,000. I got, $7,500 from the federal government, and I believe $4,500 from the state. But I still had to pay whatever the difference is at 11 grand. But it's been a wonderful, cost reduction on my utility bill every summer since I put it in. And this is basically 10x. I'm a 6.7 kilovolt system, and this is, what did we say, 65. So this is a neat opportunity for the city. The fact that it has battery backup it makes it even especially even more neat, and reduces our reliance on traditional energy. So, but I looked through the bid, Mr. Bennett, and I happen to be staying with a friend who works for Rocky Mountain Institute here in Colorado, and he knows the energy sector better than most folks on the planet. And he looked at the number and he said, look, the solar panel piece looks very much in line with, costs, but your battery is way out of line. He said, you should be paying between $200 and $400 per kilowatt hour for your battery storage. And what we're seeing is $2,000 per kilowatt hour. So he said, that is like 10x what I've seen in, the American market. So I guess I want some additional research on why that number is so high. And if we need to rebid or, do some additional analysis. Look, it's free money, but I still respect, the agencies have to provide this. We should do this as low cost as possible without sacrificing quality. So I would request the city administrator and Chief Logan look into that before, we award any kind of bids.
Yeah, easy enough. I think that was just kind of a placeholder so we could know what to ask for in the grant. I'm guessing, but I'll have to double check with McKed also. We don't know the exact cost until the bids come in.
Okay. And then I browsed some of your emails, your responses. So is it your understanding that in a general summer day, it will be producing more power than the facility needs in a given 24-hour stretch? And at night, there's systems that need to still be drawing power. Will that be pulling from the battery or from our grid? Do you know the answer to that? I'm not sure if you answered that.
I believe the grid. And the battery would only be as needed.
Only for emergency when power loss happens, that's when the battery kicks in.
Yeah, I think it's designed for emergencies only. I'm sure there'll be maintenances where to test the battery and actually do some of the storage.
Okay.
But the main every night standard would be the grid.
Fair enough. Okay. And just for, some of the council's additional information. So I own an EV, and I did a ton of homework before I bought this thing, and I learned that battery life is largely driven by depth of discharge. So if you have a battery that's charged to whatever, 90, 100%, and you discharge it to like 0%, then you've used up one discharge, right? One full discharge. But if you're not discharging it on a frequent basis, that battery is not degrading. So if when I'm hearing this only gets used in emergency situations, which we all know are uncommon but happen, this battery could last decades. Just FYI.
Tiffany?
Bernard's situation is a little bit different because, I mean, he still has to pay back on it, so, I mean, this is a great deal. The only thing I have, I mean, we have a 25-year life expectancy, but we have 35-year energy savings projections, so it's, the energy projections go beyond what the life expectancy, is that for the solar panels or the batteries?
Solar panels.
Okay, good. So, I mean, how are we getting to the 35-year energy savings if the solar panels are only?
I'd have to ask you that, or I guess it'd be, folks that did the feasibility study.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right. All right, so we're gonna vote for the Oregon Department of Energy grant application approval. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the Oregon Department of Energy grant application approval has passed unanimously. Moving on to the Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development grant approval.
All right, once again, it is standard practice for most of the grant applications through the state of Oregon to have a letter for the city council providing staff authorization to apply for the grant. This current grant is for a detailed review and update of the community development code relating specifically to housing. Attached to review is the approval letter and grant application. Council options are to approve letter of authorization, not approve letter of authorization.
I move to approve the letter of authorization to apply for the Department of Land Conservation and Development grant for review and update of the City of Cascade Locks Community Development Code Housing Sections. Second.
All right, any discussion? Tiffany?
And I add, okay, because I don't remember, sorry, having this discussion before. I mean, I'm sure you've mentioned it, but we've not really had any in-depth, where did this come from?
So again, I mentioned that we'd be applying for it, but really it goes back to the city's strategic plan. One of our 5 pillars is affordable housing. And the basis starts at having a code that works seamlessly and is updated to what is being done within the housing industry. So promoting workforce housing.
And on page 44 of 7, there's kind of a line, is there anything more to that, in addition to a robust, under number 2, sorry. Number 1, number 2, there's kind of partial of a line missing, is there anything more to that? or-
I have to hop on the digital copy. When I hit print, those were showing. Review plan maps and how we needed to target housing production. Obviously, I'm sure there is, but I don't know. I have to go check. The digital copy.
Oh, and this is the one that has the 10 hours of.
Yeah, this is the 10%.
10,000,
Yeah.
okay, sorry, that wasn't the other one, sorry.
And Bernard?
Thank you, Mayor. So kind of on a similar line of questioning from Councilmember Pruitt. So did our new planner kind of look at our development code and say, hey, I see some holes in the way you're set up, and if we can make some revisions, then this will improve your ability to attract the development of affordable housing. I guess that would make sense to me, but can you tell a little about? I understand it's a council priority, and trust me, you know me, I'm very animated on adding housing in Cascade Locks, but for this specific work, is it very clear to you that we have, again, deficiencies in our code that we can fix and improve the viability of new housing coming online? You see what I'm trying to ask?
Correct, yeah, I know, Jamie, who was the planner who started this process, did do not a thorough review, but a basic review, found some items, but I guess the biggest push for it is the state's push for housing, is they are giving out money to have cities review their code and update housing code, and you all might have a better idea the last time this was actually updated for housing, but it was why pass up the opportunity if the state's giving out money for really no cost to the city to have an updated housing code.
Okay, thank you. And then just because I'm curious, I put forward the language change on 80 accessory residential units. Am I saying that right, Kathy?
Accessory residential unit.
Yeah.
Yes. We put there for those language changes that we're going through the process. Can you give me a quick update on where that is?
I am waiting on findings to be written by the planner.
Okay, great. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, Mr. Bennett. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's where a bit of the delay is. So Jamie, who came and met council not that long ago, left AKS. And so our contract was with AKS. Our new assigned planner is kind of picking up where she left off, but there is them trying to catch up. But it should cause that big of a delay.
Any other comments, questions?
So, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you said workforce housing, is that what
Well, that's what our strategic plan says, affordable / workforce housing. Which is, each one of you could have a different definition of affordable and workforce housing, so.
Right.
Any other comments, questions? All right. Did you have anything else?
Nope. No.
All right, so we're gonna vote on the Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development grant approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, the Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development grant approval has passed unanimously. All right, approved city administrator salary increase.
Alright, city administrator's salary was set at $100,000 for fiscal year 2024-2025. Per the administrator's contract, the city administrator received the same cost of living adjustment as the rest of staff, putting the salary at $102,800. The adopted fiscal year 25-26 budget included a merit increase of an additional $2,080 for a total salary of $104,880. A 4.88 increase. Per the contract, council must approve an increase beyond the cost of living adjustment. Council's options are approve a merit increase, not approve a merit increase.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Your 4.88% is the entirety of the raise?
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, the math is, so that the math is 2%, okay, sorry.
Yeah, it actually comes out to $1 an hour.
2.8%, 2.08%.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I move to approve a merit increase of $2,080 for the city administrator salary.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? No discussion, no questions. Bernard.
Yeah, so I seconded it because I wanted to have the discussion. So I was going to propose a motion that council approve half of the merit increase, not the full. And the reason I was going to propose that is we just conducted a review, a performance review of the city administrator. I gave my comments. We did that in executive session. I'll just share that I generally marked him 4s. There was a couple of instances where there were 3s or 2s, but by and large, he met most of the expectations that I had, you know, again, I wasn't there the previous 12 months, but the time I was in observation. Since then, some things have emerged that I felt kind of pull back some of the performance conclusions that I made in that original conversation, and to try to split the difference, I think that I would be supportive of paying just half of the proposed increase for this next budget year.
Tiffany.
And I'm gonna vote no, just because last year it was negotiated that he get a $6,000 raise. And council went ahead and approved a $10,000 raise. And I just kind of feel like he's already gotten his raise early. And sorry,
I don't remember,
Are you done?
I think so.
Okay, Courtney.
I don't remember what it was called, but we looked at the different salaries of the different positions in the city, and if I remember correctly, as it stands, city administrator is making 119% of the average of comparable cities. Do I remember that accurately? And I mean, I personally haven't seen a whole lot of examples where somebody is within their first 5 years of a job making over the average salary.
Any other comments, questions? Bernard?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. So in the salary study, can someone, is that report available, or can someone verify what we found for the city administrator's salary? I didn't think we did his salary. I thought we did everyone else but him.
We did do a salary, and it was at 100,000, it was 119% of
And
the
yeah.
average.
Yeah, it's at 119%. That was at 100,000. Based on 100,000.
Thank you.
And that was. It doesn't have a date on this, otherwise I could tell you, but I have a copy of it I could send to you if you wanted it.
No, I trust you.
Okay.
You know, this comes up, I mean, I've had to do salary adjustments and for as long as I've been a manager, it's always been something you know, it's part of our budgeting process. And in my, I guess the way I filter this and look at it is someone's doing, you know, meeting expectations and they're doing their job. Then a COLA increase keeps them at the same place they were at the year before. And for somebody to do better than that, they have to be doing better than average performance. And, you know, to second what Bernard said, I think on my evaluation, I did score him slightly better than average across the board. You know, but I still also recognize the fact we're 119% of the average, you know, for this in the salary study. And I still think, you know, 2.8% of the time when the economy is really struggling, I think is entirely fair.
Okay, Tiffany?
Just to clarify, we're not discussing the cost of living, because
That's written in the contract. That's right, yes.
So
I'm just saying, I'm
we're
only in
discussing
favor,
about-
my personal feeling with the cost of living increase was appropriate. And anything in excess of that would be, you know, I guess you'd have to have some strong evidence to suggest the performance over the course of the year was, you know, warranted that merit increase. And I've been perfectly happy with our city administrative performance. I feel like he's meeting expectations, but I'm not supportive of going above and beyond the COLA increase. So.
Okay. So the motion, does anybody have any more questions, comments? The motion on the floor is to approve the merit increase for the city administrator.
We have to do it.
So. Is everybody ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay.
Hey,
All right, so. The approval of the city administrator's merit increase has failed. By 6 votes nay, 1 vote yay. All right,
Bernard's starting up again.
Bernard,
so I'm not
Yeah.
sure what the protocol is. Maybe the recorder can clarify, but if I wanted to make a motion, originally, as I was proposing, where it'd only be half, is that possible now? Or given that they've ruled on the not awarding the 2% increase? You see what I'm asking?
My suggestion would be, you could have had a friendly amendment, you didn't, so my suggestion would be next meeting, but I think the mayor can make that call.
All right, everybody good with that? All right, now moving onward to resolution 1523, the water rates.
Okay, Trilogy LLC completed a rate analysis for the city's water distribution system. They have determined that we are over collecting on the debt service for the system improvement, but under collecting on rates to operate the system. A work session was held on July 14th and August 11th to discuss the rate change options. Before council today is resolution 1523. The rates in the resolution are the closest to consensus from the work sessions. The resolution is attached for review. Attorney Cleveland has reviewed the resolution. Council options are to approve resolution 1523, amend and approve 1523, or not approve 1520. Some of the questions I got, or the most common one I got, was the dates on top of section 6. I left those as question marks. I wanted to confirm dates with council on when they wanted that implemented. And Bernard, I do thank you for catching that error in the table. The 3/4 inch CCTP fee should be $297, not $897. So thank you.
There, make a.
Just so we can have discussion, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 1523.
Second.
Okay, guys, now we can have discussion and questions.
I guess also to clarify, my apologies. It is the one-time rate hike up to the highest number of, or the option 1 from previous discussions of $3.72 per 1,000 gallons, and then the 50% reduction in the debt service fee. The straw poll from council at work sessions was all over the place. Those were the closest consensus. It also includes the increase for the meter base rate.
Tiffany, and then I'll do you, Bernard.
Okay, so it was my understanding that we, for the debt service, we were gonna reduce it, but not reduce it all the way. That's what I have marked in my the August 11th special, what was that, regular meeting? Yeah, regular meeting, okay. At the August, it's just such a tiny packet, it's, so I'm a little confused. And then also, in all of our discussions about this issue, never once has the CCTP fee been part of our charts. And so when I get this today, it sort of looks like we're adding a new fee, but I was corrected, and it's not a new fee, but we've never had any, none of our discussions up until this point have included the CCTP fee. I just, in the future, we should just have all of it so that we don't have, so it doesn't look, because I mean, for the average citizen, they're gonna look at these two things and there's gonna be two different things. There's gonna be a new fee, what looks like a new fee added. Also, we're changing the name of the meter base fee.
It's actually listed as a rate in the resolution.
In
our current resolution 1414, it listed as a meter base rate.
Since when do we know for?
I didn't go back. I just looked at the most current one to check the definition. I don't know if they changed it in previous iterations.
Because I think on our bills it says something different.
Yes,
Water meter base charge.
yes,
Yeah.
what's on the bill and what's on the rate are two different verbiages. We can update the printout of the bill to match what's in the resolution. But the resolution does state it's a meter-based rate.
But I'm good for now.
All right, Bernard,
Thank you, Mayor. So just two things. One, I support, well, actually three things. I support reducing the, let's see, make sure I get my terms right here. Hold on. The WSIP fee to the 1110. And but the 372 per thousand, again, I'm more in favor of a graduated increase in anytime you want to adjust rates. We're going from 250 to 372, literally, I mean, what's proposed in one resolution. So it would be my preference that we ease our customers into, I would argue we ended at 375 because I like round numbers. But I sent the city administrator, I said, look, year one, make it $3, year two, 325, year three, 350, and then year four, 375. So it's my preference that we ease them into that. We make the reduction on the WSIP. And the last thing, I don't know if the city administrator was able to do this, but I love net round numbers, and there's a lot of studies to show consumers like round numbers. And I really would like us to use round numbers for all these fees. And if you see what I put, I'm not, would we be able to do that, Mr. Bennett?
Certainly, it's up to council, what do you all want to do?
Yeah, no, but were they able to see what I proposed on rounding fees? You see what I'm asking?
yeah. Bernard, I want to point out that last meeting, we had a vote on what way we wanted the city administrator to go with this. And we had, went with option one for the rate increase. And then option two for the loan repayment. So I had that as being 1567 instead of 1110. I don't know if other council members remember that. I happened to write it down. So the rate, I feel like we've already discussed it. So I don't know how the rest of the council feels.
I'm not particularly, I don't think that, the rate is not as important to me as this, Bernard.
That's what.
The rate doesn't matter to me at all, like, I don't, you know, it's as far as, you know, my input on that, it doesn't matter.
Okay, did you have something, Marianne?
I just have questions on the resolution here.
Okay,
On section 4, it says debt service fee. That should be debt service loan. It is a loan for the corrosion control. And the same with section 5, it's a debt service loan for the water system improvement. It's not a fee, it's the loan. You put fee in there, then our charter is gonna go crazy because it's fees, services, and charges. So-
Yes, but our charter only limits it to creating and increasing.
But it is a loan. In my book, it's a loan. It's not a fee, it's a loan.
Correct, it's also a debt service fee or payment that falls without the scope of the charter. The city has the right to change any fee towards an obligated debt to ensure we can pay the debt. This falls outside the scope of the charter.
And we're lowering rate, and we're lowering rate, so that's
Fine, I don't agree with it anyway, so go ahead.
okay, anybody else have a question?
Rate stuff.
Question, comment?
I guess
Bernard?
I came with a different consensus on the debt fee.
The debt?
Yeah.
To the 1567?
Yeah, I went through with the straw poll. Unless there was some kind of verbal agreement I missed.
I just have that written
that's
down,
fine.
and I had option one for the rate increase and option two for the debt service. But,
Which is, I mean,
yes.
up to council.
Bernard,
Madam Mayor, yeah, can Councilmember Bump, can you tell me where you're at on those verbiage issues you're pointing out? I'm not where you're at.
I'm going based on what the bill says. It says wastewater improvement loan. Doesn't say wastewater improvement fee. It
I'm
says
just saying,
loan.
but can you show me where in the resolution, Mary Ann?
Oh, it's
Where
in
is
the
it?
titles of section 4 and 5.
Section 4 and 5. On the first page.
And we originally put that as a loan, so when that was paid, it would drop off of our bill. That was
Yes.
the original intent of that. So if we change it to a fee. Yeah, it could never end.
Yeah. Exactly.
Eric,
Okay, one, I think we just need to vote. But second, to address this issue, debt service fee incurred by the wastewater system improvement project. It is stating a specific project that fee is paying towards. The loan, so the debt service fee is the fee that I have to pay that goes towards that line item in the budget that goes towards that loan. And it says specifically waste system improvement project. Second one, corrosion control treatment project. I don't know. I would like to just vote.
I would too, but I don't see. Why cause in our charter, it says that about fees, taxes and charges.
No, I'm
So-
well aware of
so
this. I've been.
I just don't
educated
understand why
by
we're trying to
numerous people
change it.
Sitting in this chair, telling me what that charter says.
Right,
Mr. Bennett, who has had a specific discussion with Mr. Cleveland, has expressed that Mr. Cleveland's interpretation is that a loan sits outside of that.
I was on council then and that was set up so it would fall off when it was paid.
I totally agree, but it says, I mean, what I'm trying to say, I'm trying to advocate for that.
Yes,
It says water system improvement project of 2018. It says specifically that project. So when that project's paid off, adios.
I don't
Madam Mayor.
know. Go ahead, Bernard.
Yeah, I thank you for that conversation. I read it how Mr. Keller reads it. We're going through each of the charges that are being applied by the city to operate our facility. We have our meter base rate, our meter maintenance fee, flower flow fee, etc., debt service fee. Those, and then under that, it talks to the nature of what that fee is doing. So I think that actually ensures that when the, for example, corrosion control treatment project is complete, then the fee is no longer, levied on our customers. It just is the same thing for the water system improvement project. So I'm comfortable with that language, including the description describing each of those. That's where I fall on that. But back to the question on the 1110 or 1567, I guess I just want to reiterate my support for what I know you had a conversation, and I'm sorry I missed you guys last meeting, but I continue to say our obligation is to provide a properly funded utility that's efficient. And when you raise the fee above 1110, you are now pushing our rates higher or even closer to our competitors. And that's not necessary. We can meet our debt obligations at 1110, and I think we should do that and not further burden our customers while still responsibly managing these utilities. That's why I'm supportive. If you guys don't want to round the numbers, again, that's not a deal killer for me, but I strongly hope you'll support keeping the WSIP at 1110.
All right, Courtney.
Just real quick, I want to throw out maybe, a loan fee has its own definition. And so when you are using the word fee in reference to a loan, it has its own set of definitions. No addition.
Eric.
To address Bernard's point, I felt that there was a small contingency that was at Bernard's 11 and change. There was a strong contingency that wanted to keep it at a certain rate at this present rate, and I felt that was the negotiation where the compromise existed was at the 15.
Yes. We've already decided, that's what I said last council, we decided that it was gonna, we were gonna go all the way with the rate and we were gonna go with the 1567 of the. Loan payment. Any other questions or comments?
Implementation date. Obviously, the sooner the better, to get our system more financially sound, but also giving, residents enough time to prepare and adjust for the increase. We could do at this point as early as October 1st. But that's really about 1 month of notice. It's up to council. I would suggest, November, give them 2 months.
That's what I would say, because we do have a waste.
November 1st, is everybody good with that date?
So
If it passes?
I think the point you're about to say is the wastewater increase happens next month. We have a
Right.
power increase happening in October, and then this would be in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
So if it passes November 1st for the increase. Go ahead.
Just to clarify, on the motion we have is to approve this resolution, which has the water system improvement fee is set at 1110. Are we able to make an amendment to that, to raise to what we agreed to 1567, so we can get this done?
Yes, we can,
Uh,
right, we can amend it. Yeah, it's not too late, yeah.
So Tiffany, would you like to amend your motion, please?
Well,
Yeah.
I kind of like Bernard's idea of gradually bringing the water rate up too, but I mean, because it is a pretty stark jump. I mean, well, I guess it's only an.
Well, you're reducing the loan now. So really, it's a reduction in the bill.
Okay, so yeah, I will make an amendment to bring the WSIP. I guess we're still gonna call it a fee, loan fee, to 1567. Which is a reduction from $20 that we currently pay.
Okay. And do we have to have a second on the amendment as well?
I'll second it.
All right. McKellar. Bernard, did you have something else? Are you ready to vote?
I would like to ask a question on that, please.
Okay.
Yeah, so when we looked at those scenarios, unless I'm mistaken, if we go with that scenario 2 and we drop this to 1567, but we raise it to 372, their bill is actually going up. It's not staying flat. That was my remember. Can the city administrator confirm
That is
what the
correct.
impact is on your average utility customer if we do what was just proposed by Councilmember Pruitt?
Again, it would depend on the usage rate, but if I remember right, the average bill would essentially go up about $12. I mean, because the original option 1 was the average rate increase and the debt cut would cancel each other out. So your
Correct.
monthly bill would be the same. So if
That's
you're
right.
only cutting by the debt bill by half, that's the other, I guess. Something, I guess not that much, $6?
4.
4, am I doing my math?
Four, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going down from 20 to 1567, it's a little.
Yeah, so, okay, so, yeah, not as much as I thought, I had still the 11 stuck in my head.
Yeah.
457.
Yeah, so, $5,
All right.
give or take.
Any more comments? We're ready to vote? All right, all in favor of resolution 1523 on the water rate, say aye.
Aye, right.
It's 2 ayes. Did you say aye, Bernard?
No, ma'am.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
And you didn't get the ones that did the 2 eyes.
The 2 ayes was Happy and Keller,
Thank you.
and the rest were nays. So the resolution 1523 for the water rates has failed.
Okay, where does council wanna go from here?
Bernard?
So, of course, I'm looking for middle ground here. I would support a rate proposal where we drop the WSSIP fee to the 1567. But in addition to that, if we do that, then I would like to see the per 1,000 gallons usage in a graduated format, something similar to what I proposed. It doesn't have to be over 4 years. It could be 3. I don't want it done in 2. That feels too quick, but I would support a rate proposal that did something to that effect and 1567 on the SSIP. To be clear, my preference is, if I were to rank these, preference number 1 is 1110 on the capital, and then we graduate. Option 2 is 1567, and then we graduate. Option 3 would be, well, those are the 2 options I would support.
Okay, Kelly.
I guess. I'm completely lost. I understand Ms. Bum's point that. I know why she said no, but we left the meeting or the work session, I don't know, work session meeting. I thought we had an agreement, and now we're at a no, and now we've got to do another half an hour of this. I mean, I don't know what changed.
Well, for me, what changed for me on a no vote is these things changing on my bill. Where we're going from a corrosion control treatment loan to a fee. So what if we're not on this council and we have new staff and everything, and they see it as a fee? It's not a loan anymore. So that was my reason for voting no.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Pete.
And I guess, yeah, but in the resolution, it clearly defined what those fees are gonna be collected for. I mean, I guess that's where I personally felt the confidence and understanding that we're collecting money for the, the USIP is for that loan, and when that's paid off, then.
We can add, I don't know what you wanna call it, very specific language naming the loan. And the fact that it will be paid, the fee will stop being collected when the loan is paid off, and that can be added.
Is that not clear from
It's-
section 4 to section 5?
It's, I guess, somewhat implied in the language.
And it's all a matter of perception. So you get a different council and see how they interpret it and all that, then we can wind up, oh, it's a fee. And then there we are, Pete.
So I mean, it just says that the monthly charge will be assessed to each water system customer. And based on the size of the water meter for the payment on the debt service incurred. So if there is no payment on the debt service because the loan's been paid off, then.
That money quits being charged to the customer.
Yes. Right. That's what it says in the resolution.
But it's I'm just giving you my reason for voting no is because of that changing to fee. It's just that simple. I would like it to stay as a loan.
So in the resolution, it's not for the debt service fees what we're collecting. You'd like it to say debt service loan incurred by the.
Why do we even have to change it? Why can't it say corrosion control treatment loan, water system improvement loan, wastewater improvement loan? It says it all. Why are we changing it?
So I guess so.
I would like what's
in the
in
resolution
here to match my bill.
Versus.
And I don't wanna change the bill to match the resolution, and I feel like that's what we're doing. We're like changing it to a fee and changing this, when this has been working for all these years. I don't see any sense in changing that.
And I think if I remember, I'm sorry.
That's okay, that's okay.
Just trying to wrap my head around all this, cause I'm like confused, like.
Yeah.
Mr. Keller as well, and the reason why this language is in the resolution is because it's mirroring the language that's in the resolution it's replacing, correct?
I did it's actually a significant change from the resolution. The previous one talked about establishing the fees and rate changes. This was a change to it being maintained, or I guess really definition of what they were are those sections 1 through 5. And then 6 is the rates associated with each of those definitions, is how it's said.
But so just to recap, then you'd be supportive, and do I take it that there'd be support from those that also voted no? If the words here match what's on the bill, is that right?
Yeah. For me, I would vote yes if it stayed the same. We don't need to change all this.
Not for me.
So not for you?
No.
Okay, so that gives us, who all would be in favor if we kept it on the bill and in the resolution the way it is? Raise your hands if you're in favor of it. So that gives us 6.
So that's good. All we need is 4.
So if we can get a motion
Can
Can we amend the thing to get a motion for that or no?
We took a vote.
You took a
We
vote.
already
you didn't
voted, so we
deny.
have to bring it back.
That was my suggestion.
Okay, bring it back so it stays clean, okay.
So I'm updating the verbiage in the resolution to match what prints out on the utility bills.
Yes. That it's loans. Go ahead, Tiffany.
We're still good with the 372 and not graduating the increase.
The rate and yeah, we had already decided that. I'm pretty clear. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
So I just wrapped my head around this language and how it's gonna look in the resolution. I mean, we're not expecting our residents, the utility customers to pay the loan. We're asking them to make. How is that
We
written?
are,
We are,
that's what it.
we are paying the loan. Go ahead, Eric, we're here.
No,
Hold on,
I have a.
hold on.
Can I please-
Just a minute, Eric.
I have a loan on my car.
Mhm.
It is my loan payment. It is not your loan payment, it's not Mary Ann's loan payment, it's my loan payment.
Mhm.
However, I choose to budget that is my prerogative. The city has a loan payment.
Mhm.
We are I don't know how to get around this. We are in essence charging them a fee to pay for that loan payment. And yes, there's just, whatever it takes to get this approved, let's do it.
Yes.
But that's where we're at.
That's how I understand.
It's the verbiage you're saying.
That for paying for that huge fatty loan, the city is. The city has chosen to charge me a fee to contribute my portion to that payment.
Courtney.
From an accounting perspective, to expand on what I already said, a loan fee is an additional, one-time or recurring charge for specific services associated with the loan, such as processing or applying. That is a loan fee. It has its own definition. So if we take a loan and we say, here's the fee, then we are calling that a loan fee and it has its own definition. So I would like to see it as a loan payment or something along those lines. But a loan fee has its own definition and we are not meeting that definition in these payments, in my.
Bernard, you got something real quick?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So just because it's not clear to me from the last meeting, because it sounds like Councilmember Pruitt has maybe some reservations or maybe a concern about not doing the going to a straight to a 372. So am I correct in understanding last meeting you guys agreed, let's set it at 372, set it at 1567, understanding that the water rates for your average customer will be increasing. Is that the conversation you had and you
Yes, we
agreed
did.
to?
Yeah, we voted on that last time.
We took a poll.
Yeah, sorry.
And can I?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Bernard, if I could answer that real quick, like kind of the rationale, correct me if I don't get this right.
Mhm.
But I think part of the rationale was that if we don't do the one-time like immediate bump, we actually have to do a higher increase in the long run because we're not collecting the money up front. So it actually results in charging people more money in the long term. Does that make sense? That you don't have the packet in front of you from the last meeting, but there's 3 different options and the one where we have a staggered approach, you end up with a higher rate at the end. Does that make sense?
I can understand that. I guess I would want to see what was the impact? Because again, we're about to raise electric rates, we're about to raise sewer rates. It sure would be nice to not raise water rates and still meet our obligations. We can do that with a different proposal. But I don't know. I'm very sensitive to the rates our customers are paying. And I sure wish we could slow the burden we're asking them to take on because, everything's going up, guys. I was just at the grocery store and I couldn't believe coffee's like, it's like $2 or $3 more per pound. It's incredible how prices are going up. But we can do our part to keep some of this stuff down. And so, yeah, I just want to double check, understand where you guys were at.
Yeah. And we're gonna table this because we already have to bring it back to the next council.
Understand.
meeting.
Thank you.
We're done with this discussion tonight. All right, so moving onward.
Then maybe, he probably got the last packet, so it's in the August 11th.
Yeah, so,
packet.
yeah. So we're moving on to committee appointments.
I move to appoint Harry Troger to the tourism committee.
And there was an addition to the appointments. Did everybody get that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, Norm Bork. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly.
so we have a motion on the floor to approve Carrie
Harry.
by Keller. And both of these are for tourism, by the way. And
I'll second that.
a second by Bernard. Any discussion?
Where is one's application?
Any discussion or we're ready to go?
Ready.
All right. All in favor of putting Harry on tourism committee with a opening that expires on 12/31/2027? Say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, Harry, welcome to tourism committee and thank you for applying. And that term will end 12/31/2027,
Yep.
right?
And then we'll notify him tomorrow morning.
And then,
Right.
do we need to make a motion?
I'll make a motion if you want.
All right,
Motion to add Norm to tourism.
I'll second that.
any discussion? Eric?
I have an incredibly difficult. I mean, I can't even believe this is up for discussion. This gentleman has. I mean, I can't think of a word stronger than bullied, pressured me, has. Horribly disrespected the work that my family does in this community, has horrible. Acts and abilities to describe his point. He has used misogynistic language to describe the relationship that I have with my wife. He has stalked my neighbor across the river to a grocery store to accost her about a statement that was made on a platform of social media. This gentleman is a disservice to the great work that this community does.
Courtney?
Do we have any formal written complaints about that?
Nope. Not that I'm aware of.
Any reports ever made?
I was just gonna say, I don't know of any formal written complaint process for something like this, honestly, I mean.
Stalking? There's a process for that.
Any other discussion? Bernard?
Thank you, Mayor. Look, this is always challenging because, everyone has freedom of speech and they have that right to speak their mind. Having said that, what I'm hearing from a fellow council member is a little unsettling. So I don't know, it makes this a challenge. I've seen some of the comments that's been made. And, I take issue with some of them as well. I don't know. It's a tough call.
Do anybody else have any comments? All right. So we're voting for Norm to get on tourism committee with a term that ends on 12/31/27. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Hey,
So 3 opposed would be Seeger, Keller, and Happy, wait, okay. And 4 yays, which means Norm is on tourism committee and his term expires 12/31/2027.
Right, he will also be notified tomorrow.
Thanks for the individuals for applying for the committees. That now leaves us, just so we're all on the same page, we have 1 opening on budget, 1 opening on planning, and 1 opening on tourism. So please just let the community know that we need these positions filled. Okay, moving on to approval to pursue full service intergovernmental agreement and IGA with North Wasco PUD.
On July 14th, North Wasco PUD presented to the city of Cascade Locks regarding potential partnership opportunities. On August 14th, I met with North Wasco executive staff to further explore options North Wasco expressed interest in a full-service IGA rather than the a la carte model limited to engineering, mapping, and estimating services and other behind-the-scenes services. Discussions with the mayor and other internal stakeholders indicate alignment around the benefits of a full-service model. North Wasco PUD offers operational stability, technical expertise, economies of scale, long-term strategic support. The electric department fund could redirect over $700,000 in personnel and material and services expenses support services with the IGA. Staff is asking for a formal vote from council as to whether or not they would like to proceed with formal negotiations toward a full-service IGA with North Wasco PUD. If approved, staff will work with North Wasco to develop a draft agreement and bring it back to council review and approve specific details within the IGA. Council options are to approve entering into negotiations, not approve entering into negotiations.
Bernard,
I'd like to make a motion that we not approve negotiations with Wasco County PUD.
And I will second that.
all right, is there any discussion?
Well,
Eric?
no, sorry. This is not an action item.
Yes,
So
it
it
is.
just consent.
No, it's an action
It's on
item.
the bottom of the.
It's I.
It's not Mine's on E.
Oh, you didn't get the updated
You
one?
get the updated one.
I
It's an I.
know, this is a.
I know, I'm sorry.
Our council packets are never quite complete.
You check your box.
Okay. Bernard, is that from last time or do you do, I have so Pruitt seconded, you motioned it and discussion, is that
I
up for
have some
discussion?
comments. Yes, please.
Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
So, look, this proposal, it would be a radical change in the way the city operates. That doesn't mean I disagree with it, but I thought that after the Wasco County crew came to Cascade Locks, I understand we were gonna put this on a workshop and go through some of the pros and cons of doing this, and then make an assessment. And it would be my hope, if we like the idea of potentially contracting out for these city light services, then the next step would not be to enter into an IGA, but to go through an RFP process and see if other properly staffed entities could take on those responsibilities, force them to bid on it. IGA, they're going to pick any price they want. Through a competitive bid, there's putting pressure on what they're going to charge to provide these services. So to me, this is way cart before the horse. I would like to recommend council put this as a workshop item. And then again, that's when we even talk about whether we want to go out for RFP. If they do, we do that, then they'll be able to bid like anybody else and possibly move this solution forward.
Yeah, but I don't even understand why we're talking an RFP. I mean, we're talking about hiring 2 more employees and a utilities director. I don't understand, I don't even understand how we got here, and their presentation really didn't tell me much. I mean, it told me what they covered, told me what they do, but I don't understand. I mean, I feel like I agree, the cart before the horse, but I feel like we're just giving the electric department away, and I don't understand how we got here. I mean, we went from talking to them about providing architectural services, and somehow we've gotten to giving away all of it. That's.
Howard.
Can we vote? I feel like we're all no.
Did you have anything? Did you have anything? No? All right, so we are gonna vote on the approval to pursue full service intergovernmental.
We already made a motion to go.
Oh, no, yeah, to not approve to pursue full service intergovernmental agreement with North Wasco PUD. All in favor to not pursue full service intergovernmental agreement with North Wasco PUD, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimously, we will not pursue any full service intergovernmental agreement with North Wasco PUD. Thank you, council. All right. Now we got committee report,
No committee reports.
audit update.
We don't have an official piece of paper to give. I was gonna touch on it in the updated CA report. Usually I try and get updates from the auditors on Mondays for the most recent information. We have the hiccup with the treasury item, working on that focus today. We did get more requests from the auditors today. So hopefully to nail down more information from them this week. So I will try and get an update this week on it, but nothing in writing tonight. It's that we give them stuff and they keep asking for more and it never seems to happen.
Anybody have any questions or anything? We're ready to move on to the next item.
For the city administrator?
About the audit. Nope, okay. All right, we're gonna move on to the city administrator Bennett report.
Okay, first crime stats. So attached is a breakdown of crime statistics over the last 5 fiscal years. While some of the early data is missing, the report provides a useful overview of incidents known to the sheriff's office. This data can support future public safety planning and funding applications. EMT Improvement School Initiative to support economic development and secure funding for phase 2 of the fire station. Chief Logan and I have discussed a theoretical partnership with Mount Hood Community College to host an EMT and paramedic school in Cascade Locks. Mount Hood Community College currently does not offer EMT or paramedic courses. The idea remains conceptual, but the recent announcement of a relevant grant by the Economic Development Administration has reinvigorated interest in exploring this opportunity. Following the announcement, I reached out to Mount Hood CC and they expressed openness in the concept and willingness to engage in further discussions. While the outcome of this conversation is uncertain, we believe the initiative holds promise and merit worth continued exploration. Master facilities plan. During the discussion with council members, it became clear that the shift from focusing solely on City Hall to a citywide facilities plan was not well communicated, felt abrupt, and lacked broader context and explanation. In my effort to estimate the cost in renovating City Hall, I consulted with architects and fellow city managers. The consensus from the conversations was to avoid narrowing the city's focus to a single facility without reviewing the broader needs of the city and the community. I agreed with these assessments, especially given our multiple aging buildings and underutilized land assets. In more detailed discussions with one architectural firm, we explored the process and cost of developing a master facilities plan. As an example, they shared an 8-building master plan they completed for the University of Oregon, which cost approximately $50,000. Using insights from these conversations and AI tools, I developed a scope of work for a master facility plan tailored to Cascade Locks. The scope of work has been distributed for quotes to help the city budget for work. As of August 18th, no quote has been received, and I did send out a copy of that scope of work as well. And then electric department interviews for working foreman position have been rescheduled for August 21st. From August 21st to August 28th, the city is partnering with the City of Grove, a fellow member of the Oregon Municipal Electrical Utilities Group, to assist in the interview process. Unfortunately, their GM had to reschedule, prompting the change. And then the last paragraph we've already discussed. Additional report came out today. First item is July 2025 financial report. As we start a new fiscal year, staff are permitted to provide monthly reports in a timely manner for council. This report will look different from past as we try to present it in a more non-financial expert format. We are open to feedback to provide council with the information they need and want without overwhelming council. Quarterly and end-of-year reports are being in more detail with more narratives. The monthly report in between will be 1 page at a very high level or similar to the last page of this report. The July 2025 report is attached. COVID items and treasury reporting. Council may have gotten notification regarding past due reporting of the expenditures of COVID funds and the possibility of having to return the funds. This has become top priority for myself and Finance Director Clark. We have meetings set up with the necessary folks and working to get access to the treasury portal. Once a solid understanding of what needs to be done and a path forward, council will be informed. Communications regarding the reports and timelines from the state and U.S. Treasury were not reaching city staff.
All right, Bernard.
Yeah, so I just want to focus primarily on the master master facility plan proposal. So I'm very much in favor of this. We did a city hall project when I worked for the city of Shoreline. And it was a very expensive project, and the entire city took on the entire burden. And they actually had to go to the voters to get money to build this facility. I am not in favor of that. And what I am in favor is that we do a multi-purpose, like public facility where we did a survey. I understand we got some good feedback from that, where multiple services are provided from one location, port, city. I would love for our post office to be there. To that point, I actually visited the post office recently when the head honcho was there saying goodbye to one of the employees who just left. And I spoke with him. He said, we would very much be interested in co-locating at a new location. I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds wonderful. So what I would hope we do is that we reach out as many potential partners as possible we can. And then if we get to the point we're going to build a new facility, we're sharing this burden. And I promise you, it will be dramatically less on our citizens if we can have all these entities helping. And keep in mind, whether you have one entity or four entities, you have to get electricity to them. You got to get water to them. You got to do all that utilities. If you're only one, you're taking the whole burden. If you're multiple, that's spread among multiple. And I think we'll be very pleased if we pursue a proposal like that and we look at the final price tag. It's going to be dramatically less than the city taking on the whole burden. But that starts with a master facilities plan, arguably including outreach for potential partners. So if we know if they're in or out.
Anybody else have comments on this, Tiffany?
Yeah, I have a comment on this, this monthly financial report. It's very pretty, but like, I'd like some things like the revenue, I don't know what that's telling me. It doesn't tell me how much, what percentage, what, it's got lots of multicolors that I don't understand. I mean, and the same thing with the expenditures. What is other? I mean, I'd like some clearer definition on that.
I asked that question. It's debt service, intergovernmental or inter-fund transfers, capital expenses, anything outside of operating, I guess.
Okay, it would be.
Yeah. Like I said, this is a very first rough draft, and we're definitely gonna clean it up.
And then personally, revenue and spend in the last page, also, it would be nice to have a date, year to date, because sometimes our financial reports are a month behind, so is this year to date August, year to date July, just if you could get a little bit more specific. I get the gist of this, but are we at times going to get the full, like, itemized? Or is this?
That was not the intent. It was to give a high level of it, not to go through every budget line, just give council a general or snapshot of where we are at the 20,000 foot mark.
So if for those who are more interested in the nitty gritty, are they,
you can ask and we can print out a report.
thank you.
Anybody else? Marianne?
On this master facility plan, will you have an idea where the 50,000 is gonna come from?
That was just an idea. I get the quotes to see what it would cost to us, and really at this point, it's the budget for next year. I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, if we can get money for this year, great, but it's more to budget for next year. Yep.
Madam
Anybody
Mayor,
else?
I have a question.
Okay,
What are you cutting up for?
I didn't mean to, I got up, so I lost track. It was innocent.
Okay, I'd like to talk about the monthly financial report. Although this is a very nice report, it doesn't help me deal with what I have to deal with, and I would prefer the individual line item for my monthly report, please.
Okay, Bernard?
Yeah, so just, I think if I understood it right, that $50,000 was for a major facilities. You said eight into, I think that was a much broader scope that what we're proposing. I'll tell you, Gresham did a facilities master plan, study. And for our entire Department of Engineering Service, which is a massive department, multiple facilities and purposes, sewer, water, storm, et cetera, it was $25,000. So I don't anticipate this project will be like 50 grand. I think it'll be much less.
The unofficial quote I got from the architects was about 25 grand.
That makes much more sense.
The example was 50 grand for the University of Oregon for their plant services. It was 8 massive buildings.
Right.
The difference though is they have 8 buildings. Those 8 buildings ain't going anywhere. So it's prepping those 8 for the future. We're talking about whole new city hall, community civic center. We have warehouse storage facilities that are 50 years old and have holes in them that need replaced. So it's a slightly different scope, but rough estimates 25,000.
Thank you.
But until we get official quotes back, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to get a number that I can work with for a budget.
Okay, so we're gonna be moving on. Go ahead.
On this scope of work, a lot of the historical uses just say same, that doesn't make any sense. And, do we have an address for these 2 vacant lots?
There is no address assigned. One of them,
Like location?
one of them is downtown and the other one is on the east end of town past our substations. Actually, but I always forget the name.
Herman Creek, that's the one you showed us last time.
It's Herman Creek.
Herman Creek,
No, Herman Creek Road.
Herman Creek Road, right?
Okay, yeah, I always forget the name, but yeah, it's on the east end of town. And the other one is is it like 0.7 acres?
The downtown one?
Yeah.
That's the one behind the.
Yeah, I think I combined them where it's actually the plaza and that little triangle. I think I combined the two. As
That's-
kind of one downtown lot.
Okay, so that's the downtown plaza,
Yeah.
and the vacant lot is something different, or is that part of it?
Oh, did I separate them? I haven't looked at
Okay,
it
so
since I sent it out.
okay, so that's the one behind.
Correct, yeah.
That's weird in that place.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I just don't understand the historical use that just says same for everything but. The buildings.
really, it was mainly for this building that its historical use was K through 12. The rest of them, since they've been built, haven't changed their purpose. This is really the only one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we're all good? All right, so we're gonna go to mayor and city council comments. Bernard, let's start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one or two things. One, I want to welcome our new council member, Kyleman. Congrats on the appointment. I'm sorry I missed it. Happy to have you join the team and looking forward to working with you. Some of the other council members know I like to do an outreach and we sit down and maybe have a cup of coffee and get to know one another. And I'll be reaching out soon enough to do that, and would love to get to know you better. So again, welcome and thanks for joining us. And then let's see, and one other thing, come back to me. I'll try to remember it.
All right. How about Courtney?
Job of city council is not a judicial branch. It's not our job to pass judgment. I appreciate McCack and everybody else coming in, and sharing all of this wonderful information. New grants are very exciting and looking forward to next meetings. Good to see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Tiffany?
Okay, thank you. I wanna say thank you for painting the one side of the regulator red.
Oh, yes,
Finally, yes, you should
Yeah.
put that in for, because
yes.
that was, I wish we would have had it for the weekend, but that's okay. hopefully, hopefully people will, abide by it. Also, thank you for, the city, after me paying for the light shield, it's made a significant difference.
Oh,
I
good.
really very much appreciate it. My whole backyard is not lit up.
Good to hear.
That being said, I was wondering if, for those who want to be able to do it and can't afford it, can we like, set up a fund based on income for those who can afford it out of the community fund for like, you know, maybe 10 people to be able to get a shield put up? I mean,
Up to you all, yeah, I can't make that decision.
I mean, is that something the council would support? Because I mean, I I wish we didn't have to pay for it, but apparently there's a reason why. I don't know, something I'd like to discuss in the future, I guess. Okay, okay, and PCT days, I think I really am excited about how much it has grown, but at the same time, this weekend was a disaster. I'm sorry. If there would have been a fire at school, there's absolutely zero way that the fire apparatus would have been able to get through to put a fire out. There was parking on both sides of the road. You could, I mean, it was one car. We have pictures, we all took pictures. One car could only go at a time, and there's absolutely no way a fire apparatus could have gone there. I feel like we should really push back on the port and have them come. I know it's not their event, but they rent the facility, they rent the property out, they rent everything out to the person who does it, and I think that there should be some pushback on doing something different for parking. I don't know if it's parking them out at the industrial park and shuttling them into town so that, I mean, but the cemetery was full, the school was full, the side on Gorgeous Beers was full, my road was full, I mean, in like a T. I mean, they were parking up in front of Bernard's, they were parking in front of, I mean, there was just parking everywhere. And it wasn't so much of a problem down on those roads because they can park off of the side, but down Regulator, which has always been an issue, which hopefully has been taken care of now by the red curb. But it was just, everything was packed, and I really think we as a council should give some feedback to the port and say, hey, this has become really, really big. I mean, and you need to help make it feasible for the people that live here. So I would like to see us address that in, I don't know, probably not tonight, but I would like to see us somehow address that. Also, do we get TLT on the campers? Because we are supposed to be able to get,
We're supposed to, yes.
but do we?
I couldn't tell you, I'd have to check.
Okay, so that could be another issue. I mean, we
And
should-
you know, do they charge them?
They don't charge them.
I was gonna
It's already
say,
higher.
I don't think they actually charge them for their tent space.
Okay, well, we should push back on it because we can get money for some of the grief that they're causing. I don't know, but we should be making income on that because I mean, it doesn't do anything for the city except for brings people here. And it does things for some of the businesses. I get that, but this weekend, I mean, it was.
I will say that comment I've heard from just about everybody. And yes, it's great that event has exploded, but the city is, I mean, it's surpassed our infrastructure. Obviously, that's a slow process, but I will be having a meeting with GM, director, whatever his title is, Blue, and we're gonna talk about that and how to coordinate in the future.
So yeah, I'd appreciate if those two subjects would be brought up, that
Yeah.
person needs to be charging the TLT, we need to be getting that income.
Yeah.
And the parking was just ferocious, I mean, there was just not a place, and it affects me, because I live downtown, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, and then I got an email, which I forwarded to city administrator and the mayor about the and I see we're trying something a little bit different with the OWL system, but we keep talking about improving the system with the port. Are we making any progress on that? Because
Again, I wanna speak for the port, but I think we're both a little hesitant to put significant money into a system when we're both on the, hopefully, horizon of a new facility. When that's gonna happen, I don't know, but we're a little leery on that, but.
Can the new system not transport to the new facility? I mean, 'cause it's not gonna happen overnight, it's gonna be a long process.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get there, so it would be nice to have something in place that would, I mean, cause the person complained about it wobbling back and forth. I mean, sometimes if you're watching, it flips back and forth between two cameras and it gets dizzy, it gets seasick.
Yeah, that meeting with the sheriff was the worst I've seen it. It
Yeah.
was really bad.
Yeah, so, okay, as long as we're,
Yeah,
making
yeah.
progress, making progress on that, okay, and that's all.
That's all.
That's
Eric.
So I was having incredible struggles going back and forth on the agenda and going through the PDF and up and down. Some of the other agendas that I look at, for other cities have links on the PDF. So like, it'll take you to that page. So like I can click on ordinance 463, article 1, and it'll take me to that page in the PDF package. I don't know how to do it, I just know it's possible. I understand and I hear the feedback about parking for PCT days. But when I listen to business owners talk about how PCT days gets them through the winter and not having to close and not having to open up another new business because you can't get through the winter. I feel like that heartache and that suffering of a couple days, yes, it's a pain. I won't argue that it's a pain. Like that, I wanted to go down there and hang out and go on the Stern Wheeler and represent the city and be there for people, but I had to ride my bike because there was nowhere to park. I mean, so yes, I get it. I understand that, but we need to understand that this has insane economic impacts on our city. Huge. One business had a record day and then doubled that record day the next day. One business made enough revenue to last them from January and February, the equivalency of 2 months of revenue. Like, yes, it sucks. I'm with you, but it's important to have that kind of economic activity because it brings future economic activity as well for those people returning. I advocate and will advocate and always will advocate for every single citizen in this, well, sorry, every single resident within this city. Whether they fall in the LGBTQ line that this council denied, whether they are a member of any sort of group that is discriminated against, that this council has denied, whether it is against the treatment of women and the equality of women within our society. And now a gentleman, this council has said that those actions are okay. That his actions towards my wife of saying that she is not a person is not okay. These groups are discriminated against on a daily basis. I can't believe 4 women discriminated against themselves by nominating this gentleman that says that my wife has no choices to make in her household. She is an equal in my life. There's no one better. We co-run our house. I do not make decisions without her. She makes decisions. She does not make decisions without me. We are together in this. We are equals. And to be told that I'm a horrible person for supporting and raising up the equality of women in our society, I can't be a part of a council that discriminates and degrades the members of our community. When are you going to stand up and say, I support you? I support you. That's all.
Thank you. Very good. Nothing? Pete.
I wasn't here this weekend, but I did take a drive on Friday. Friday was a madhouse. And I did that drive. I actually went up regulated because I wanted to see the Valentine. I don't live over there. I don't see it. But I wanted to go look at it, and so I did drive all through downtown, and then ended up driving the wrong way through the elementary school and down that one long. And thankfully, I got all the way up to Wanapa before a car turned in, so I don't know how I made it through there. Did the field totally fill up with cars?
No, it wasn't full.
It wasn't
Not full.
You know, for years, I was the director of transportation at the ski resort. We had to manage an influx of 10,000 people in a couple of 90 minutes, you know, up and down that rise. So parking optimization was something that was really kind of in my heart. So when I look around, I see empty parking spots in town, and congestion in other areas. I feel like it's mismanaged. And so I definitely agree with the sentiments as far as going back to the port and talk to the event organizer and putting a little bit more on them. As the director of transportation at the ski resort, we also provide transportation to the same event organizer for other events they run, because they don't have adequate parking facilities, and so they have to bus people to a race start, for example. But I did see some empty parking spots in town that I felt like could have been utilized. And I agree that maybe there's parking outside of town and we can then shuttle people over. I think that as every year people come and they have a good time and they tell other people, it just is gonna keep getting bigger. So it's good we're having these conversations, and I'm amazed to hear the numbers that I hadn't heard that as far as the real sales numbers from some of the businesses in town. But my participation, I volunteered at Thunder Island Bag Check, and it's so fun talking to these people from all over the world that come here, you know, and it's really inspiring, you know, talking to some of these. So it's cool that they want to come and celebrate here in our whole town. Just Amanda Ferguson, I just want to comment that every interaction we have with her, I am just continually impressed, and her ability to speak to a specific language in those documents as we're going through those really just shows kind of the rationale behind all of it, which, you know, like the elevation diagram, like trying to be able to understand and comprehend that. I feel like we really scored working with her on the strategic plan. And now the code revisions down on revitalization, she's been a great partner. So I'm really glad that we've gone through all of these processes, and I can see the benefit to our community, and it's reflected in this agenda tonight. And that's all I gotta say.
All right, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys a real quick review of some of the things I've been doing. I have met with the port we have a regular monthly meeting with the port, and that includes Blue and sometimes Brad Lorang is in that meeting. I did have a special meeting with Jeremiah Blue over PCT days, because I wanted to know if they had a debriefing, because I felt like it was really important for us to have a voice in that. They do have a debriefing on it in 2 weeks, but that is with their staff, and no one is there. In about 2 months, they'll have a debriefing with the vendor, and that is where he comes in and says how many attended, what they did and all that. And I spoke with Jeremiah about more bathrooms being on Wanapa, for even if there's a couple putting Overlook Park during this weekend. And he said that wouldn't be a problem. They have too many down at the park, so that would be something that is accommodated. They had several issues too. So as it gets closer and stuff, I also talked to him about some extra policing on that weekend for our downtown, because I got a lot of complaints about drunkenness going down the streets and stuff, and women needing to get to their tents and things like that. So I heard all kinds of complaints. I wasn't here. I was actually in Baker City doing the Oregon Mayors Association conference. And I would love to give you guys a real good briefing on that, but I have not had time because of everything else to get that ready. But I did learn a lot, and I am excited to share it with all of you guys. The other thing, I meet with our city administrator every week, and today we had our regular meeting on Monday. We usually meet on Wednesdays at 9, but today we met at 9 o'clock, and we talked about the NLC report that we did not file. There's rumor about how we will have to pay back this COVID money of $257,000. I talked with Jacqueline and Peggy from the different entities about this. The portal once I clarified with Jackie why she said August 26th, it was her understanding that the portal was open until then. However, it had been closed. So she rechecked into it. And in the meantime, I spoke with Mr. Bennett and our finance director, Shantae, about this issue. And Shantae is working on it. And we will be trying to get into the treasury portal. Hopefully they will open it. My understanding is they will open it again after August 26th. And when that opportunity happens, we need to be able to get into that portal and we need to be able to do our reports by mid-September, or we will pay that $257,000 back. So that is top priority for Mr. Bennett and Shantae. So that was our big Monday morning thing, just so we get everybody's on the same page with that. So any rumors you may hear or whatever, you guys can say, no, we don't have to pay it back. We're working on it, and hopefully we'll know something by the weekend, by the end of the week, whether that is or not. Because Jacqueline from there did send an email saying that they are going to be opening that back up. So otherwise we would be stuck paying that back. I also wanna commend Baker City on the cute little town they have. I don't know if anybody's ever spent any time there. It's the cutest little town. They have all these historical buildings and everything, and they have such a pride in their town. And it shows, and the people are really nice and welcoming and all of that. So it was a very exciting event, and I got to meet a lot of mayors from a lot of cities. And we got to network and get feedback and all of that, so I'm really grateful for that. And I also wanna say, I don't hear enough praise for our council about the House bill win of 5006. That is a big win, council, and we should be celebrating, because that is $1.6 million that our community does not have to pay. And that is a huge win. And we need to be spreading the word, because that's exciting. Also, I said earlier about we have one opening on budget, one on planning, and one on tourism. I also have asked City Administrator Derek has offered to give anybody a tour of our electrical lines and stuff that wants it. I asked City Administrator to sign me up for that tour. If anybody else is interested in that tour, where we don't get a quorum, I would like you guys to do it, so Derek's not taking his time to do it multiple times, so please get on that list with the city administrator so we can do that. Did you have something?
No, I just
Okay.
agree with you, yeah, but
Okay.
coordinate.
And then the small city allotment grant, we did get that, and in the spring, just so you can let citizens know, the streets that will be done is Ventura, Wheeler, and Sunset, and then we'll all start in the spring. And then City Yard Debris Day is this Thursday from 12 to 3:30. So bring your yard debris. And I just want to give a big thank you to council, because without all of our hard work and commitment to our community, none of this would be happening. And then the bathroom. We have to talk about the bathroom. The graffiti and the vandalism has cut down by 90%. I would easily say that, probably, easily. However, we need to start servicing our bathrooms more often. By the time I went there last night to the bathrooms, a gentleman was standing there and told me that the bathrooms were closed, and I said, well, why is that? Well, he was warning me not to go in because it was so terrible. So our public works guys had to walk into a lot of crap, literally, this morning, and it was horrible. So I would like for us, to talk about it maybe next meeting or something, what we're gonna do about our bathrooms, because we have a responsibility to our community and to the tourists to take care of it, because this is the first thing people see when they come to our town is these bathrooms. So, and that is all I have, so,
Mayor, can I add that one thing I missed?
what's that? Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to make a comment on PCT days. That's the other thing I was hoping to make a comment on.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
look, I sympathize with the parking challenges that were clear and, very disruptive. Having said that, I don't think the one council member was saying we don't do PCT days. I think they just want a better managed event, and I support that. We need our fire lanes clear so all our EMS can get where they need to go should an incident happen. But on the other hand, we also need to encourage this event. The data is undeniable. I spent, several hours down in the park. It was incredible. The energy was fabulous. We had that nice rain. It was a spectacular weekend. And I hope this community will embrace it and it'll continue to help businesses thrive in Cascade Locks. That's why we do events like this and promote them. And I know it makes a difference to the guys who owns businesses here. And I care deeply about their success. So I'd like to think we can find a middle ground to manage the impacts while not, spoiling the benefits of these types of events. So I just want to make that comment from my chair. And the last thing, I do love the idea of a link PDF. I think that's a great idea from Keller, and I would hope staff can figure out how to do that, because I too, these packets are so darn long. And you guys know I bring my laptop and I like to just be able to, skip down exactly where I need to be. And it's a lot of scrolling. It could be much more efficient. I too have seen it worked. I think that's a small change that we can improve on our efficiency. Thank you.
Thank you. And whenever I talked to Jeremiah Blue about PCT days, it was about making everybody a little bit more comfortable. It's not about getting rid of it, because it is a major drive for our businesses. I've had a business and that was my biggest weekend. It carried me through the winter, and our businesses need it. And the other fact is that the city or the port has to pay $0 to put this event on. So we get all the revenue for zero out of our pockets or out of the port. So Tiffany?
And I just wanna say, I am not against PCT days, I am just, it just has to be managed better. I mean, the parking, there's other options for parking. And, and the cahooting at 2:00 in the morning. Also, I didn't know if you wanted to mention the small towns meeting in Hood River next week.
Oh, on September 18th.
Yeah, LLC.
The LLC's having a meeting on September 18th in Hood River, and it is free. So good chance to sign up for, and I forget what all it's on.
LLC. Oh.
Yeah, I forget what the topic is, what the workshop is. Do you know?
Sometimes you don't know until you show up.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it's in advance, sometimes you don't know until you show up.
Okay.
Because they
And
really don't know
real
what to
quick,
talk about.
Mr. Bennett, can you put me down for the electric tour, please?
Me too.
Yeah.
I'd like information on it, like
When is it?
when and where we're meeting.
Well, we don't know, we're trying to put it together, so we don't have a plan yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So it
then,
sounds like we'll have two separate tours.
Tours, yes.
tours.
Yeah, that's fine. Just, I think it's really instrumental for us to go out and get eyes on it. So, all right, I am going to,
Can I ask a quick clarifying question?
Yeah.
Comments? So just on the ARPA funds and the reporting, forgive me, there might have been other communication I just haven't seen yet, so there's clarification that the portal will reopen tomorrow and be open through the middle of September?
we're hoping that it reopens the day after tomorrow. And we don't know which one will be in, because the treasury is grouping in these cities that are left into categories, so we don't know if we'll get in on the first opening or not. That's how I took it. You got that email too from Jocelyn?
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Okay, so the last I heard was the deadline was tomorrow, so.
Yeah, well, that deadline, she was wrong because she didn't realize they were closing the portal. That's the problem, is the US Treasury has closed the portal. So if they do not open this portal back up, then we owe the money. Because we missed the deadline. We had many emails that said, hey, the portal's opening and all of that. Shantae asked a really good question. She's like, how come we didn't know? Well, when Mr. Zimmerman left, instead of forwarding his email into Jordan's mailbox, Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong, he had Mr. Zimmerman's email login, but he has not checked it, correct?
Well, it was a separate inbox when
Yeah.
I made one, and I checked it pretty religiously for a year and a half, but after I stopped getting things, I stopped checking it. But then they eventually started resending things, so.
So, yeah, so the breakdown in the communication and the fact of the matter is we didn't get our report done, so. I'm hopeful and praying that they open the portal, otherwise we won't have money. And that's not good.
I'm gonna make a motion to go into executive session.
I'm gonna make, recess the regular session first and then you can go
You
ahead.
need to make a motion to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
ORS 192.66028, employment of specific public officers, employees and agents under limited circumstances.
Kathy, did we do that now?
No, I'm just saying, you don't have to make a motion to go into executive
okay.
session, you can recess regular session, move into
To
executive session.
stating
And then that
ORS.
leaves the regular session open for you to go back into,
Okay,
to discuss anything if you want to, or.
okay. And do we have the recording song?
Once we're officially in executive session, we'll.
Okay, so do we get that? We don't have to.
No, just recess.
Say, sorry, I rescinded
Are
that.
we gonna get this done in 20 minutes?
Yes, it's quick.
Yeah, this one should be for,
I have-
I need.
I like your office.
I'm surprised